のには降りないこびりつく地層のようにライト感ヘビーかい中そんな遠いもんな着物に対岸の価値なのにその身を削るほど姑息なる偽善者の思い込みディセルピーいっそ彼を伝え枝分かれ無重力状態いつか訪れ特別な瞬間浮遊してもまだ I gotta say むき出さいとへと駆け出す二頭へと孤独を悟る隙間は痛いけど何回だって知ったって何回だってじゃがって上昇して落ちる速度には神をただ任せてるんだぜ闇の時代を告げる彼が遠くなり響く戦うと思うよ今君は死も恐れず枯れ木の街を染めて沈む夕日はくれない愛する星の未来を守るためもう神の刃人の愛祈りも込めて貫け立ち上がれ気高く前定めを受け出せんしよたとえ傷ついて力尽きても赤く燃え見事に散って星になった命を時を超えその名前を胸に刻もう Just forever
Sorry for the stupidly high heart rate. I accidentally just spilled water on my floor and it scared the hell out of me. I thought that I just spilled water on my computer. But we're good to go. So regardless, here we go. We're back. We have just finished the prologue. I know, 30 hours of a prologue. Pretty prolific. We're back at the alt timeline. We're ready to fight the beta. We have newfound confidence, newfound resolve. Okay, the multiverse is on the line. All right, the multiverse is on the line, and we're about ready to fight the beta. And we're gonna roll them this time. We're talking no deaths, straight one tap and everything. Our PTSD is gone. We're ready to roll. After the way I acted and the awful things I said to her, I doubt this is just going to blow over. No, I just can't blame it on the drugs or hypnotherapy either. Not that it would excuse any of my actions anyway. She even said she no longer had a use for me, so perhaps there isn't a place for me here anymore. Oh, I should also note, I did go for a run today. Heart rate might be a little bit higher than usual, but just saying. The thing is, though, is I got my own pillar of strength. That's right. Just like Maya and the others could always lean back on Japan for their heritage for guidance, I've got my own foundation in all these worlds I've roped into this mess. And I found the resolve to restore all the timelines I've thrown out of whack. Which means there's only one thing for me to do. You know, I'm sorry. You have me worried. I'm sorry. I made a complete idiot out of myself. I know you might not have a use for me anymore. You're probably wondering why I even came back at all. But please, you have to let me stay here. I'm begging you. You could chew me out as much as you'd like. I won't ask you to forgive me for what I've done, but just give me one more chance. I have to save the worlds I've screwed up. It's my fault they've been roped into this mess to begin with. So please. Well, that was quite the impassioned little speech, but I still don't think you're seeing the whole big picture here. I'm not? Nope, cause see, I don't remember giving or taking away any chances. But I mean, like, when I first came to this world, you... Okay, hold it. I'm gonna need you to slow down, lower your voice. Okay, sorry. Maybe you forgot, but the only reason you and I were ever working in the first place was because we shared a common interest. Just like how I gave you a high-level security pass when you first got to this base because it made things more convenient for me, okay? You got your chance to play hero thanks to me. In exchange, I got the formuloni to bring Alternative 4 to completion. That's all there is to it. Play the hero? I mean, I guess, no kidding. In retrospect, that's exactly what I was doing. But I was way too naive back then, a weakling. As a result, I ended up getting people needlessly killed left and right, and hurting those I wanted most to protect. Not to mention, if I don't fix this, I might as well just cost several billion people their lives. Yeah, only several billion. Look, I know it's childish to think that I deserve another chance, but I'll do whatever it takes. Yeah, like I said, it's just because of the run. It'll probably slow back down to the low 80s. Just give it like 5 or 10 minutes. What did I just tell you? That's not the issue. I realize that. And I am nervous. Not gonna lie about that. Apparently you don't. If you think I was in any way put out by you running off like that, you're wrong. So what's there to forgive? Our business here is done. Nothing more, nothing less. I get that, really, but I still need to for you to let me stay here. Okay, I understand. Now what are you going to do for me in return? There has to be something for both of us, remember? Yeah. If I'm ever going to restore the order to these worlds, I have to get rid of whatever it was that made me a casualty conductor. Can't do that without her help. Think, what could I do? There's got to be some way I could be of use. I can't think of anything. Is there really nothing I could offer her? Do I tell her about me being a casualty conductor? How I need to return our worlds to normal? That won't work. The only world that needs to be fixed is the one I interfered with. From here. As far as this world's concerned, there's no benefit. And besides, if she was capable of predicting that I would run away like I did, then she has to know that already. I can't just predict the future for her, so what do I do? So you got nothing. I'll think of something, just give me a little bit more time. Well, if you can't come up with anything, then perhaps I'll set up a little interview. An interview with who? If all goes well and they like you, then you have a new role to fulfill. Then you get to stick around. What do you say? By all means, I'll take this interview. I'll take any job I can get. Who is it? Then follow me. Okay. I'm kind of worried, you guys. Not sure if the timing was good or bad. But I've actually completed the 00 unit. Nice! It's done. The key to alternative... Oh, it is reflecting that I am nervous. Yeah, I can feel my heart kind of bumping. Because if my theory, right, the theory that we wrote out, what, 2-3 nights ago, that the 00 unit is Sumika, then, oh god. The key to alternative 4 in humanity's trump card is finished, huh? I am worried, friends. Not sure why you're so surprised. The moment you brought back the equations, it was done. What's today's date? How many days have I been gone? Ever since Marimo died, I haven't even been able to keep track of time. And here I was always the one so concerned about staying on schedule, but at the very least, I can be sure it's not Christmas. But now that Unit 00 is done, it's safe to assume that there's no chance of Alternative 5 being enacted at all anymore. What's up? I thought you'd be happier? I am, but after what happened to Marimo and Sumika, it's hard to genuinely feel happy about anything. That is called depression. I can't keep on like this. I'll wind up breaking the promise I made with the other Yuko. You know, it's almost a certainty that Alt 4 will be completed. The future you desired is now within reach. I just hope I can stay and help see it through the end. Fair enough. Even after I save this world, I'm still have to figure out what it was that made me a casualty conductor, so the faster the war ends, the better. Meet? Guys, don't do this. Meet the 00 unit? What? What do you mean meet? Don't get me wrong, I want to see the thing, but my interview? Guys, I'm worried. It's me. You'll never guess what happened. I'm going to need you to bring Unit 00 up here. Bring it up. It's portable? Thanks. Sensei, I'm excited to see this unit, don't get me wrong, but my interview? Yeah, that's what we're here to do. Okay then. Guess the job must have something to do about this 00 unit. Like an assistant operator? Something like that? You know, out of curiosity real quick, is it small? Like portable? Something you could carry around? I guess, if you felt inclined to. You guess. You see, I was kind of hoping for a more concrete... here she is. Oh, already? What? Oh, God. Bring her in. No. No, she looks lifeless. This is... Oh, no. You know, the bodies... Let the bodies hit the floor. Like, the opening of that song has been on repeat for like, the past 3 hours. 132 heart rate. Yeah, because I know something bad is just going to happen. Why does she look so dead, you guys? One, nothing wrong with me. Sumika? Are you kidding me? Yeah, you know what else is definitely not cute? Those lifeless eyes, bro. Looks like she's a fish. Looks like she has been through some stuff. Is that really her? No, it can't be. It doesn't even make sense. Why is Sumika in this world? I thought she wasn't supposed to be here. Holy hell, I will kill them. Huh? We got a personality jump too? Alright. I will kill every last one of them. What's she on about? Every last one of who? Oh my god. You guys, this is not Daijobu.
ダメです。
No difference. In what?
残念ね。白金を見せれば少しは変化も起こるかと思ったけど。
I see. Well, that's unfortunate. See, I thought letting her see Shirogane might induce some kind of change. Letting her see me? But this is not easy to look at. And technically nothing bad has happened. It's just, this just is so like, Jesus, look at her. This is not how she looks. Alright, I'm gonna end the stream. I'm just kidding, but still, this is... What the hell is going on?
そのままの意味をあんたに合わせれば変化が起きると思った。
Unfortunately, nothing. I thought that maybe you two would meet up and I would actually elicit a response. That's not what I'm asking. Who is this?
そうね。ちゃんとしておきましょうか。
Oh, of course. Where are my manners? It's not Sumika. You're the one who said she didn't exist. You told me that in Unlimited!
改めて紹介するわ。
Allow me to introduce
オ
you.
ルタネイティブ4の最大の目的にして成果。人類に勝利をもたらす存在。
Meet the realization of Alternative Force primary objective and the key to bringing about humanity's victory. This lifeless creature here. Well,
00ユニットよ。
this is the 00 unit. 00 unit. This is her?
そう。あんたが持ち帰った数式のおかげで完成したのよ。
That's right. Thanks to these equations you've retrieved for me, she's complete. Why does the 00 unit look exactly like Sumika then? What kind of sick joke is this? Let me guess, you made these using the images Cosme read from my mind? This is so messed up. That's what this is.
冗談のつもりはないけど。
I assure you, this is no joke. If you let it go to your head, I'll make the same mistake as last time. If I keep letting my emotions get the best of me, I'll lose sight of what I came back to this world to do. I've got to stay calm, otherwise I'll be Sensei's pawn all over again. This isn't Sumika, it's 00 unit.
それこそがベータ殲滅の鍵となる存在。あんたと私の
This is the key to annihilating the beta. The fruits of our...
敵だ。
Beta? The enemy?
殺してやる。皆殺しにしてやる。
I will kill them all. Why is she freaking out like this? Even her voice is identical to Sumika's, for God's sake.
また始まった。
Oh, there she goes again. What?
ベータ、殺してやる。殺す。
The beta? I'll kill them, I'll kill them, I will kill them. Are you okay?
一度こうなると落ち着くまでが面倒なのよね。
It's always an ordeal getting her to calm down.
私が殺す。ベータ。
Hey, she has the Valkyries logo on her jacket. Hey, snap out of it. Oh my
殺し。
god. I will kill them all. This isn't good. I can only think about how badly I injured her in the other world. Why does humanity's secret weapon then look exactly like Sumika? Did you make it in her image? Why did you make it in her image? What's wrong? Her knees look like they're about to buckle. She's holding her head in her hands? Is she in pain? Well, would you look at that? Aren't you going to help her? Yamate. Are you okay, Sumika? What? Hey! Why are you just standing there? Did she just pass out? That can't be right. 00 unit's like some kind of machine, isn't it?
今までにない反応ね。
Interesting. She's never reacted like that before. What the hell?
やっぱり特別
And look at that smirk. Yuko, you dirty scumbag. Perhaps you really are special.
あんた泣いてたの？
Oh dear, were you crying? When did that happen?
ティッシュあげて。
Yashiro, tissue.
はい。
Here. Kasumi, thank you.
まったく。ちょっとはマシな面構えになって帰ってきたと思ったのに、精神的な脆さは克服できなかったみたいね。
Really now, and here I thought you'd have matured a bit. Looks like your mental fortitude's still shaky. I can't refute, but isn't this a bit much?
白金、あんた合格よ。
Well, looks like you did it. What do you mean I
あん
did
た
it?
は面接にパスしたのよ。よかったわね。この世界に居場所ができたじゃない。
You passed the interview, isn't that great? Now you've got an excuse to stay here
ヤシロ、
again.
もういいわ。連れて行きなさい。
That'll be all. Take her away.
はい。
What the hell? This is crazy!
いつまでそうしているつもり？今日はもう休みなさい。部屋はそのまま残してあるわ。
Just gonna stand there all day? Why don't you go get some rest? I've left your room just the way it was. Hang on a second. What's my excuse to stay here? What job did I just get hired for from the interview?
00ユニットのデバッグと調整作業。私はもっとエレガントに調律。
You're gonna go debug and adjust the 00 unit. I prefer to call it tuning since it sounds more refined. So you've decided I still might be a pawn to you?
言ったでしょ？利害の一致だって。その意味では前のように対等。
Didn't you hear what I said? Our relationship is founded in a common interest. In that respect, I'll treat you as an equal, just like before. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
今日はここまでよ。じゃあね。
That'll be all for today. Off you go. Wait, Sensei, one last question. Why does the 00
今日
unit...
はもう部屋に戻りなさい。
It is time for you to go back to your room.
この一週間、あんたは私の命令で極秘の任務についていた。
This past week, you've been on this top secret mission per my command. Got it? Top secret mission?
そう。あんたの特性を生かした最前線での危険で過酷な任務。あながち嘘とは言えないでしょ？
Yes, a dangerous and brutal mission out on the front lines, one that called for your unique abilities, which technically isn't even a lie, right?
書類上も何もかもそういうことにしてあるから、どこに行って何をしていたかなんて。
All the
誰も聞いてこ
documentation
ない
has already been taken care of, so don't worry about anyone asking where you've been or what you've done. Taken care of? What does that mean?
私の任務と言っている以上、今のあんたの格好を見ようが、多少言動がお
I'm
かしかろ
starting
う
to
が、
really,
そこに
really,
疑問を感じ
really
るよう
not
な
like
人間
her.
はいないわ。それが軍人というものでしょ？
Even if they notice that something's a little off, no one's gonna suspect anything. After all, soldiers know their place. No one questions my authority. Do they not remember me anymore? What do you mean? You said that after 24 hours the device would make them...
そのこと？大丈夫よ。
Oh, that little detail? Don't worry.
あんたが二人になる問題を解決するために装置を改良したでしょ？
Remember when I fine-tuned the device to solve the whole 2 Shirogane thing? That dealt with the memory loss too. You see? You fixed both problems at the same time? That sounds way too good to be true. And come to think of it, why would you leave my room intact
だ
anyway?
からあんたは何食わぬ顔をして帰る前と変わらない態度でみんなに接しなさい。
So just be your usual self around everyone. Nothing happened. Did she suspect I'd come back? Did she know I would?
今日はここまでよ。
Yeah, this
頭を冷やして
is gonna be a
明日また来
ride.
なさい。
Protect the 00 unit. That'll be all for today. Go cool off. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Why did you...
対等に扱うって言わなかった？理解できる？
Look, I said I'd treat you like an equal. Try to read between the lines. So you're saying you don't actually consider us equals, huh? Yeah, of course. Not like I already knew that.
直上型は扱いやすいから嫌いじゃないけど、そこから進歩しないんじゃ、一生誰かの手駒で終わり。
I've got nothing against brash people since they're easy to manipulate, but if you can't overcome that impulsiveness, you'll spend your entire life as my pawn.
たとえあんたが将軍になろうが大統領になろうが、結局誰かに使われる。
Hell, even if you were the shogun, the prime minister, you'd still be end up getting used by someone else.
権力が欲しいとか言ってたけど、組織の中で立場に応じた身の振り方もできないやつには。
You say you want
一生無理
authority,
な話ね。
but if you can't even fulfill your existing role in an organization, you're never going to climb the
その
ladder.
辺のこと、榊にでも教えてもらったな。
You could learn a few things from Sakaki.
明日また呼ぶわ。
I'll call you again
そ
tomorrow.
の時までには頭冷やして
Have a clear head by then. I understand. I just gotta be patient. There's so much I want to ask her about the 00 unit, Sumika, why she apparently planned around me coming back, but at the same time, I just got back. There's no telling what might happen next, but we could at least assume there's very little chance of Alternative 5 being inactive on the 24th now. When I think about all the worlds I've screwed up, I can't help but get impatient. but I really ought to... Natalia, what's your thoughts on this? You were silent. But I really ought to just take one thing step at a time. I can't make the same mistake as last time. Mistake. It feels so weird to be back. I was only gone for a week, but it feels longer than that. When I left, I was so sure I'd never see these halls again. But now that I'm back, I feel strangely at ease, almost like I've come home. That doesn't even make any sense. No one's out walking around. Must be lights out already. I guess that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. I know it should be safe to interact with the people of this world, but since there's no way to know for certain, I can't help but feel a little anxious. But even so, I'm gonna do this. I have to. I don't care if they do forget me. I've got a job to do. I'm gonna find what made me a casualty conductor and destroy it, even if it's the last thing I do. Takeru, is that you? Maya, you can't just sneak up on me like that. Go figure, the first person I run into is the hardest one to face. Why does nothing ever go... Ha! You're not kidding. I didn't even get time to process the new information. Oh, here we go. Actually, no, that's not a bad thing right now. It's better that I don't have to overthink this. And I came back here to overcome my naivete, my weakness, and all my other... my naivete. I never knew how to pronounce this word. I would always just go ahead and try and change it to naive whenever I could. Is it naivete? To overcome me being my naive, my weakness, and all my other shortcomings. So I have to take responsibility for my problems, and not just run away from them. Maya, did you only just return? Just earlier today. If only you knew. Your special mission must have taken quite a toll out on you. Now I understand what Maya was trying to do for me, and after I trampled all over her feelings, I could finally understand. I need to settle this matter, and I make sure that I repay her for being so upfront. Maya, about the other night, why are you... Yeah, seriously, it's played at all the heaviest moments, man, but... It's still a banger, though. That is for leaving without any telling anyone. That is for making us worry about you. And that is to thank you for coming home safe. Ah, that hurt. Thank you, Maya. I'm glad I could still count on you to put me in my place with a good hard slap. You fool. You buffoon. How could you just leave for the front lines in such an unstable mental state? Yeah, most likely. But it's still going to be my favorite song in this game. I don't think anything could touch this. It's played at every moment that it needed to play in. I thought you might never return. Well, thank you for worrying about me. But you idiot. You did well to make it back alive. Thank you. Are you really crying over me? Why would you waste your tears on a scumbag like me? Dude, now is not the time to be edgy. Once I fell off my high horse and realized I was a weakling, I tried to take my frustration on you like a degenerate, and you're crying for me? I'm sorry. What I did was... I think we've only heard Maya's theme when she was standing outside in the coup arc. So, I don't know the details behind that one yet. But I will keep that in mind. Yeah, no, this, like I said, every moment that this song is played in, and I think it's only been played at 5 times, it's kind of like the songs from Little Basters and Clanad. They play them at the exact right time, and they don't overplay them, you know? I think the song is only played 5 or 6 times in the entirety of this VN, and I can name every time that it's done it. Because it is just so perfect. Maya, I could see it in your eyes. You seem to have found the resolve to carry out the duty entrusted to you. About time, right? Your mission on the front lines must have been unspeakably harsh to harden you so. The front lines, huh? That's just the excuse Yuko came up with, but it does feel like that's where I was. As a casualty conductor, even when I tried to run back to my old peaceful world, death followed me in my wake. There's no place for me to run and hide. Not anymore. Ironically, the only place that's safe from the effects of the casualty conductor is the world in which the source of it lies. Until I can get rid of that, anywhere I go will become the front lines, both for me and the people I put in danger. Well, I'm not going to run away anymore. And I'm not going to blame others for my own shortcomings. I'm not going to justify the fact that I ran away from my problems before. Is that right? I can finally understand why you acted the way you did during the coup. And the meaning behind everything Her Highness told me? I finally understand what you said to me the day that Jinguji died. I understand everything. Your words, the way you live your life, they've haunted me. Even when I'm out on the front lines. Do not say such scary things. I mean, what do you want me to say? It's the truth. You never change, no matter what world you're in. When I interacted with the other Maya, and all those things you said to the day I ran away from came back to haunt me. Whenever you came into my mind, I realized how pathetic I was. In a sense, it helped me find resolve. And one other thing. While I was there, I ran into some people I thought I'd never see again. People you thought you'd never see again? So I decided right then, right there, I'm gonna keep fighting so I never will lose them again. It's just like you said, and like Her Highness helped me realize, there are some things that only I can do, and I'm not gonna run away from them anymore. So if it's okay, I want you to watch over me. And if one day you think I've earned your respect again, I'd like you to forgive me. Sorry, what an utterly ridiculous request. I've already administered your punishment, have I not? I guess you did. If you would like a few more, I could oblige. But let us save that for another day. My hand is sore. I'm good. I can't die just yet. Idiot, I could hit much harder than that. Be grateful. Seriously? In that case, yeah, thanks for letting me off easy. Idiot. Oh, and by the way, I'm pretty sure I'll be back with the rest of the unit tomorrow. Depending on what Yuko has in mind, of course. Good. I'm sure the others will be relieved to see you alive and well. I hope so. Right. I still gotta make amends with everyone else, though. All of us that came from Cadet Squad 207 were incredibly worried given what you had just gone through. You were, huh? Can't believe you guys were worried about me even after I left without a single word. Thank you all. Well then, I look forward to seeing how many more punches you will be able to endure, huh? I'm merciful today. I let you off with a mere 3. Wasn't one of those supposed to cover upsetting everyone else, though? Yeah, well, we all care an awful lot about our squad mates. I suggest you steel yourself. Got it. If that's all it takes to make it up to you guys, I'll gladly take them. Now then, shall we return to our rooms? We may not have quite so strict a curfew as commissioned soldiers, but we still hold ourselves accountable. Alright, I'm an officer now. Speaking of, why are you out late? I was running red laps, like the night I met you, or ran into you after the enlistment, remember? Alright, your independent training, gotcha. She's still keeping up with it, huh? Just like her. Get as much rest as you can tonight. I'll see you in the morning. Okay, night. Good night. It really does feel like I'm home. After what happened, I hated this place so much that I leaped at the chance to run away, but my old bedroom doesn't even nearly feel as much as home as this one does.
それぞれの立場に立ってものを見ることができれば、各々がよりどころとする正しさも見えてきましょう。そして悲しいことですが、それらすべての者たちの望みを満たす道が、その時そなたは何によって決断し、どのような道をかの者たちに指し示すのか。その時もしそなたに迷いがあったなら、原点を顧みること、そして自らの手を汚すことを、道を指し示そうとする者は背負うべき責務の重さから目を背けてはならないのです。
心は自由であっても良いと思う。だがその立ち振る舞いや発言は常に周囲への影響を考慮すべきであろう。それがそなたのように天賦の才を与えられし者に課せられた宿命だ。
So many people have told me the same thing in so many different ways, but it wasn't until I lost something important to me that I realized I really never understood anything. Sergeant Jinkuji. Took so many stupid detours before finally arriving at this realization, and it cost you both lives. And I lost the one thing I most wanted to protect as a result of my own weakness. But I promise you, I'm not going to let your sacrifice be in vain. I'll do my duty as one of those left behind, and save as many people as possible. No matter what people might say or think, I'm going to carry out the task set for me and me alone, so please watch over me if you could. Until the day I join you.
最後にすごいことがありました。私の願いが一つ叶いました。タケルちゃんとキスをしちゃいました。それも2回も。今までで一番幸せでした。これだけは絶対に忘れません。やっと夢が叶ったんだから、絶対忘れません。私へ。
Not to spoil anything, but that's the reason for their different hair color too.
隣の家に住む人です。
It's not really a spoiler, just talked about in the No thank you, Mr. Bot. Oh, Mr. Bot, look behind you, it's Chomp-kun!
私の一番大切な人です。
Sumika, I'm so sorry for all the pain and heartache I put you through. I've decided to stay here and fight and see this through to the very end. I'm gonna fix our world, don't you worry, so just try and bear with me just a little longer.
鏡はどこかにいるはずよ。改めて紹介するわ。00ユニットよ。
Who would have thought? The key to alternative for the 00 unit. I should be thrilled it's complete, but I didn't think it'd look like that. I guess I always envisioned it as some sort of huge machine or a device. It's why it's come as some shock. What the hell's the deal with this thing? Why does it look like Sumika? One-to-one replica, down to her voice. Not to mention, when it started freaking out, I instinctively ran over and touched it. It was soft, it was warm. This world's come a long way in the fields of cloning and cell culture technology. I mean, look at Cosme. So maybe it shouldn't be too surprising. Able-bodied soldiers are a precious resource here, and they're not above human experimentation, so they've undoubtedly made great strides. Yoshimune has a video on it that I'll probably stream after I finish the entirety of Alternative, in which he talks about different symbolism and stuff like that that you may have messed up on. It was a part of the anniversary that they did last month, so I'm excited because I haven't watched it, obviously, but I just know that he explains the difference between their hair color as well. I've heard plenty of stories in which surface pilots who lost their limbs were sent back onto the battlefield with artificial replacement. But in the case of the 00 unit, why would she ever need to make it seem so human? And why? Why base it on Sumika? Sumika doesn't exist in this world. She clearly must have made it off of an image that Cosme read from my memories. But why would she go out of her way to replicate Sumika then? Yuko may be pretty messed up in this world, but she's not so sick she would do something without good reason. I guess the simplest explanation would be there's some highly important reason for the 00 unit to look human. I can't imagine what, but if there weren't, there'd be no point in painstakingly modeling it after one. I'll bet it has something to do with Alternative Force's true objective. But even then, of all the humans who they could have picked, why Sumika? I've got nothing. That's understandable though, considering I have hardly any information to go off of. Okay, how about we think about this in reverse? What good would be coming out of it looking like Sumika? It can't just be an attempt to make me feel motivated, right? She did say something about how she didn't know if finishing it was after I left was a good or bad timing, right? Did she model it after Sumika's to try and keep me from leaving where she shouldn't exist? And then her plans got thrown awry when Marimo died? No, that's not it either. If she needed me that bad, she never would have let me go. She wouldn't go to all that trouble just to risk me never coming back at all. Maybe it's a security measure? Like as a way of keeping all Thai alternative factions from recognizing it? Does that make sense? Dude, maybe it's just her. I doubt they would expect these 00 unit to look human. I mean, who would ever guess the key to humanity's salvation is a teenage girl? Not to mention, since Sumika doesn't exist, I'm the only human alive who would recognize her. I guess that would make sense. I'm supposed to be dead, which is why Tsukiyomi and Chief Hiroi are suspicious. Actually, you know what? They probably still are. But Sumika, nothing. No existing records of her whatsoever. So how could she find out that she's an imposter? Uh-oh, she's looking kind of mad sus. And what's more, by sending me back to my world, she'd be ensuring that there was no one at all here who would know the original. I guess it makes some amount of sense. I get it now. That must be what she meant when she said the 00 unit would make me stable. Because she knew she could never send me back to my original world, only to another version of the same timeline. So in that regard, any Sumika's better than none, right? Just another one of half-truths, I guess. For the longest time, I've been accepting everything as she says as law and trying to paint it in a positive light. We're only working together because we share a common interest, though. It's my own fault for taking her words at face value. I'm so naive. One thing I do know for sure, though, is that 00 unit is vital to both Yuko and Alternative 4 as a whole. Which means if this tuning work she's got lined up with me allows me to control the 00 unit, that's a very advantageous position. Yuko wouldn't have a choice but to help me find whatever made me the casualty conductor. I can't afford to take the moral high ground and refuse to play dirty. If I don't have a couple of tricks up my sleeve, I'm just going to keep being a pawn. Our relationship can't be so one-sided. I have to get something in return. I'm not going to be manipulated anymore. Time to level out the playing field. Looks like we're finally here. I've been away for a whole week. Second Lieutenant Shirogane. I commend your efforts with your special mission with the EXO. Ma'am. It's no easy feat to come back from the front lines alive, especially after such a traumatic experience. You've got some serious grit. Thank you very much, ma'am. We're not authorized to know the details of your mission, but it's not hard to imagine how difficult it must have been. And you've earned our respect for accomplishing such a feat on your own, ma'am. And why is that? This unit operates under an independent chain of command, acting as a vanguard of the alternative program and only tackling rigorous missions. You've earned our respect because we're all keenly aware of how unforgiving operations planned by the XO are. I believe you already know this. But the unit we're assigned to is the EXO's very own unit, Special Attack Force A01. Oh, isn't a wing made up of 108 TSFs? However, what began as a full wing has since been reduced to a mere squadron. I see, so it wasn't always this small. And in this unit, the mortality rates are still as high as when they were decades ago. When the beta surfaced in Niigata last month, 2 service pilots were killed in battle and another was hospitalized. I remember hearing about that. Yep. 2 more! No. 2 were killed. Major Walken and Irma. 1 more was killed during the recent coup attempt, and then another died last week's beta ambush, and another was hospitalized. Considering this is Yuko's unit, I'm not surprised they're being used like this. I wonder if they were the ones that saved Her Highness during the coup. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's true. That's true. That's a good point. Thank you. Thank you. I try to question the lore, but that is firmly cemented with a 500-page book. So, as you have likely surmised, we have the highest casualty rate. Yeah, welcome to the best unit on the base, son. We have the highest casualty margin. I'm sure we will see beta more soon enough. And yet, as you can probably see, we never seem to get much in the way of new recruits, though they do keep us pretty well stocked during high-risk missions. Oh, do not say the T word. The police are going to come after you. So we're more than happy to welcome a hotshot like yourself to the team. Hope you're prepared. We're going to work you to the bone. Yes, Captain. As you know, the surface pilots in my unit are all graduates of the same training academy you attended. Huh? Did you not know this? I'm afraid not. No one ever told me. Then allow me to inform you. The base's training academy was established for the express purpose of producing new recruits for Unit A01. So it all makes sense then. It wasn't just a coincidence that Sergeant Jaguji was also the captain's instructor. But it all goes back to her. Which means it all goes back to Chomp-kun. Which means we're all Sergeant Jaguji's children just like yourself. You in particular were one of her favorites. Don't you dare bring shame to her name. Yes, ma'am. You received exemplary marks in basic, helped develop the XM3, successfully carried out a solo mission on the front lines demonstrating resilience in the face of adversity. A truly immaculate record by all accounts. We expect great things. Yes, ma'am, thank you very much. We're glad to have you here in Unit A01. Welcome to the team. Ma'am, Second Lieutenant Shirogane reporting for duty. Proud to be of service. Captain Isumi Michiru, I know we've been introduced before, but it's good to finally have you aboard. Thank you, ma'am. Likewise. Shirogane, let me make one thing clear. Yes. This squadron, there's no need for such formalities. We've been ordered by the EXO not to waste our time on such trivial customs. I get that. Can't say I'm surprised. Yuko's definitely not one to pay much heed to formalities. So don't worry about protocol unless there are outsiders present. Alright, understood. Now then, the rest of the squadron. Oh my god! Hello, other age game characters. That's Akane's sister. On the right, Command Post Officer, First Lieutenant Suzumiya Haruka. She graduated from training 3 years before you. Pleased to meet you. Likewise, Lieutenant. Wow, she's gentle. Couldn't have pegged her as a soldier. She monitors battlefield operations from a command vehicle, but don't let the looks deceive you, Takaru. She's a real feisty one. Do not get on that bad side. Uh-oh. Captain, don't say things like that. See what I mean? Yeah. Maya 3.0. First Lieutenant Hayase Mitsuki, Commander of B-Flight, also from Rumbling Hearts. She was 3 terms ahead of you. Pleased to meet you. Welcome to the Valkyries. I expect big things from you. The Isumi Valkyries? Oh, fly to the Valkyries. Oh, yeah. That's the nickname for this unit. Captain Isumi's Valkyries. Ah, it's a nickname, like Shark, Hammer, whatever. We picked it because all the surface pilots in the squadron have been women. I get it, because there were 12 Valkyries in Norse mythology and a squadron consists of 12 TSS. And I think my parents used to say video games can't teach you anything. Ha! Dabbed on him. Video games taught Taku how to Fortnite dance on the beta. And now you're here to screw it all up. Not your fault, though. Oh, we spot the tsundere. Don't be too harsh. It's rare to get male recruits. Yeah, Roger. Try not to go too hard on me, please? Man, come on, strong. Who greets someone like that? This is probably just banter, though. First Lieutenant Munakata Misai, Commander C. She graduated 2 terms before you. Pleased to meet you. Can't wait to see what you can do, Shirogane. Thanks. Oh, she's got a good head on her shoulders. What are you staring at? She's not into men. Ah. I never said I wasn't. As long as I like it, I'm down for anything. Well, as long as what she... somehow she didn't strike me as the open book type, but okay. My mistake. Glad we could clear it up. Oh, then looks like you're in luck. Okay? What is wrong with these people? They're casual for a special task force in which the death toll rises every mission. Next up, 2nd Lieutenant Kazuma Toko. Pleased to meet you. You as well, Lieutenant Shirogane. Yeah, the same rank, but Kazuma graduated 1 term before you. If you ever feel lost, she'll be a good resource. She's probably the best one so far. Whenever you need help, feel free to ask. Will do, thanks. She's a little too docile. Maybe she's nice. She got that rich girl air to her. Not the same as Mei, though. 2nd Lieutenant Kashiwagi Haruko. I think everyone likes her the most. Kashiwagi. My lacrosse arc goaltender. You're in this world too, huh? Pleased to meet you. You too, Lieutenant. Looking forward to working with you. Since Haruko has been turned into a surface pilot training academy, I guess it would only make sense for Kashiwagi to be here. Though that would also mean all my other classmates have been killed off. Kashiwagi joined 2 months before you and has already 2 missions under her belt. She's basically a peer, though. After all, her only 2 missions are the surprise coup and the surprise beta attack. Yeah, so from that perspective, 2 months apart, nothing at all. Yeah, she kind of does, actually. She sounds like Paranoia. Yeah, don't sweat it, Lieutenant. I'd rather you just consider us equals as well. Okay, got it. She seems nice. Hello, Akane Maniacs. Where's that guy? What was his name? Goda? It's a pleasure, Lieutenant. Nice to meet you, Lieutenant Shirogane. Ah, Suzumiya. Looks like you were top of your class in this world, too. Sure, maybe class reps squatted a ton of political obstacles to circumnavigate, but your team still pulled through and graduated the first time around. There's definitely nothing to sneeze at. So you're that hotshot pilot, huh? Can't wait to fight alongside you. I've heard a lot of stories about you coming from Lieutenant Sakaki. I've heard you're very skilled yourself. I don't know what you've heard, but don't think I'm gonna let you hog the spotlight. Got it. Good to see that she and class rep are still close in this world too. She got the same spunk as well. You could probably tell by her name, but she's First Lieutenant Suzumiya's younger sister. Both siblings in the same prestigious unit? Wow, their parents must be so proud. And of course, 207B. Right. Even I can tell I'm making a super awkward face. Uh-oh. Alright, now that we're done with introductions, it's time you learn the squad's motto. Okay. Carry out the mission at all costs. Squadron repeat. Carry out the mission at all costs. Fight until your last breath. That's in the opening. Make your death count. Well, I mean, I guess if you're gonna go ahead and throw the highest death margin of the entire Base? You might as well say make your death count. Keep those words ingrained in your mind. Got it. Alright, Shirogane with me. The rest of you mock battle. Hayase, you're in charge. Dismissed.
貴様にはこれから1週間分の遅れを取り戻してもらうが。
Alois, have I passed you yet? Now we're gonna need to catch you up to speed on what you missed this past week.
ただでさえ貴様ら 207B 分隊は3ヶ月間の後期カリキュラムをすっ飛ばして任官しているんだ。
And that's not even to mention the fact that your squad's already skipped the past 3 months of curriculum.
本来なら実戦に出る前に受けるべき座学の内容を他の連中にはこの1週間で叩き込んだ。
Where you spent the last week covering material that all service spots should be aware of before going into battle. Okay.
貴様はその2つをこの数日間でこなすんだ。
And for you, we're gonna have to cover the same material in only a few days. Fair? Fair.
よし。では今日から数日の間に大きく分けて。
Good. Today's lesson will be split into 3 chunks.
はじめに A01 部隊の任務について。次にベータと実戦の戦術について。最後に使用する機体についてだ。
We'll start by discussing your mission as a member of Unit A01, then move on to anti-beta battle tactics, and then we're going to finish up with an overview of TSS. Got it.
今日はまず A01 部隊の主要任務について説明する。
Today, we're going to detail what your primary mission is here in Unit A01.
オルタネイティブ第4計画に関しては今更説明。
I don't need to explain Alternative 4, right? Huh? Alternative 4? The captain just dropped the bomb like it was nothing. Isn't this the first time I'd be hearing about it too, as far as what she knows? I was told that Executive Officer Kazuki briefly mentioned or briefed you. Yeah, she did. So Yuko already told the captain then. Okay. Alright, we'll skip the intro then. Let's jump into it. But I don't know how much Captain knows about it, so it's going to be pretty tough to figure out how much I can divulge. As you know, our unit's not established to carry out some standard issue combat mission. It was created for the express purpose of performing specialized operations that aid in the completion of the Alternative 4 project and nothing more. I see. So we don't have any involvement with the normal run-of-the-mill missions. We focus solely on Alt 4. As a result, we are essentially above the law and conduct operations in situations where the UN doesn't intervene. So that's why they suffered casualties when the beta surfaced in Niigata. I do remember Yuko saying that the UN forces couldn't go on the offensive without a formal request from the government. How, Alois, have I passed you? We were deployed to Niigata last month, the mission to observe and record the battle and to retrieve live beta specimens. You captured live beta? Is that in the job description? Surely. Sometimes we're sent out to fight, others we do behind-the-scenes work to benefit. I see. It makes sense, though. With the project's completion as their highest priority, I'd imagine they're more concerned about productive missions than destructive ones. However, just because a mission's behind the scenes doesn't mean it's less dangerous. As I said before, we lost 2 good soldiers retrieving those samples, another hospitalized. Right. We also frequently perform trials of new technology developed by the Alternative program. For example, we began practical evaluations out on the XM3 prototype you designed from the XO in a very, very early stage. Huh? The missions we get tasked tend to be pretty maniacal in nature, more often than not. So it wasn't just our squad testing with the proof of concept OS? But that's not to detract from the absolute necessity of those missions as pertains to the success of Alternative 4. Captain, when did you start texting the XM3? Beginning of the month. That early? That's the same time as us.
XM3 を搭載していたおかげだろう。
As an aside, had it not been for the XM3, I just want to say I don't think we would have made it out of the coup without just a single casualty.
1週間前のベータ奇襲の際に戦士1名、
Same with the beta
4翼
ambush.
1名で済んだ。
We were lucky to have only lost 2.
これに関しては
So in that regard, perhaps I ought to be thanking you. It's fine. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. There's no way Yuka wouldn't solely rely on such cadets for such an important project. Maybe AO1 did all the real development, she only gave us the XM3 to make sure we didn't die during the coup. Given her track record, I ain't putting that past her. Actually, Captain, if you don't mind me asking, what was your mission during the coup?
当初は帝都臨海部にある離れ城の警護だ。配備目的は貴様の部隊と同じだ。
Initially, we were protecting one of the auxiliary fortresses in the seaward side of the capital, like your squad. Right, makes sense for a unit of commissioned soldiers to be guarding a fortress on the front lines. And yet, I really don't see how putting Unit AO1 on a mission like that would be directly benefit Alternative 4 at all, not that we cadets had any business being deployed. I do remember Sensei saying that the coup might be a good opportunity for us, but why?
貴様の部隊が後部員殿下を保護した後は、帝都からの敵増援を箱根の手前で遮断する任務に切り替わった。
Once your squad successfully took custody of Her Highness Kuobin, we received a new mission, namely to intercept the enemy reinforcements from the capital at Hakone. Nay. Why do I feel like that's not a coincidence? That basically means that no matter which fortress the Shogun fled to, AO1 would either be escorting her or close enough to dash in and fight. It's perfect. Even Chief Yoroi seemed pretty impressed with her at the time. Why is it that Yuko's plans always seem to go off without a hitch? Obviously, she must have known a lot about what was going on behind the scenes, but there's no way she could have accurately predicted the Shogun's every move. Didn't she say she had no way of falsifying my records within the Shogunate's database? I assume that means she has no pawns on the inside there. So she couldn't have known that Her Highness's main goal was to draw the fighting as far from the capital as possible. Maybe she just put AO1 closer because she figured we'd be safer in Hakone? But that begs the question, how could any of that have benefited Alternative 4? What's her endgame? I don't know, what is her endgame? Regardless, it is thanks to these guys' backup that we were able to make it past the Haikawa toll booth. Really makes you realize just how narrow the perspective of any one soldier really is. I've got to step up my game. I'll never be able to face Yuko on equal ground if I'm content to stay in my clueless little bubble. I didn't know, so your unit was the one backing us up, huh? That's right. I guess it's thanks to you then that we managed to get the job done, huh? Well, if you ask me, it wasn't exactly a successful interception. In what way? I mean, they kept bringing in more reinforcements, so... It's probably our fault at all that the enemy felt the need to resort to aerial assault. Why do you say that? But the advantage of XM3 were too effective. What? I think that's what forced them to resort to such drastic measures. I see. In the end, that only put Her Highness and the rest of you in more danger. I wouldn't really call it a success. What do you think? I don't consider it a failure. On what ground? You managed to prevent reinforcements from pursuing us. You accomplished your mission. I see. Well, you're right about that, but the line of reasoning only works when it's humans you're at war with. The bottom up and top chain down command are pretty obsolete now. They don't work on on an alien adversary. If we were still in the training academy, that answer may have been sufficient, if only just because of what they could teach you here. That's right. I studied this when I was commissioned in the last loop. Basic training is designed to teach civilians how to think and act like a soldier as quickly and efficiently as possible. That's why it uses such antiquated techniques. They're designed to erase your individuality, leaving you more of an obedient machine than a human being. You and the rest of your squad were giving orders, officers' quarters, right? Yeah. Normal cadets live in large co-ed rooms with several people, huh?
便所もシャワーも男と一緒だった。
Not only that, but when I was a kid, I also had to share a bathroom and shower with men as well. What?
もちろんそれは仲間意識の醸成や
And
部隊が一丸となるための
it was partially meant to promote better camaraderie and
だ
teamwork.
が本当の目的はそうすることでプライバシーや羞恥心を奪うためなのだ。
But the primary purpose was to remove any semblance of privacy so we learned to feel no shame. That's news to me. I knew it was like that on the front lines,
た
but
だ207小隊は特に B 分隊には特殊な背景を持つ人間が集められていたからな。
the People's
その
207,
辺は
primarily
帝国
207B,
各方面への配慮なのだろう。
came from a variety of complicated backgrounds. You were probably given individual rooms as a show of respect to the
A
Empire.
分隊の連中鈴宮や柏木はそのおこぼれに預かって渡航したというわけだ。
Those in 207A like Suzumiya and Kashiwagi, they just lucked out. They got to reap the same
もっ
benefits.
とも207小隊に男の訓練兵など一人
And there
もいな
weren't
かった。
even any men in Squad 207 to begin with. I see. I guess you could say we kind of owe our privacy to Maya then. When you consider that Japan's the host country for Alternative 4, it's easy to see why they try and stay still on the Shogun's good side. It's the same reason why they're letting Tsukiyomi be stationed here. Though, that doesn't explain the individual rooms that they were all girls anyway. Maybe they just wanted to keep everyone from getting too close to Maya? Interesting. So Captain Asumi knows about everyone's backgrounds then. Guess that's what's to be expected though, since she's the one who's got to look out
た
for
だ
him.
し個室や便所が優遇されたとしても羞恥心やプライバシーを鈍化させる必要はある。
However, while you were lucky enough to get your own private rooms, you still need to learn to forget your sense of shame.
そうしておかなければ素性がどうであれ前線において一番困るのは本人だからな。
If you can't do that, you'll be the weakest link on your front lines, regardless of the pedigree.
訓練兵の強化装備を思い出してみろ。全面がほぼ透明なのは無着色皮膜の方がはるかに安価という理由だけではないぞ。
If you'll recall the fortified suits issued to you as cadets, they're more than semi-transparent because the material costs more to dye.
正規軍では男も女もないからな。あれに鳴らされてしまえば大概のことはもう恥ずかしくなかろう。
最前線の基地じゃ寝る場所どころかトイレもお風呂も一緒だからね。
So that's why they made us wear those. I get it now. Well, it certainly worked for me. After a while, I didn't even think twice about it. Seems like the others didn't
わかった
either.
か。訓練部隊では過酷な環境に耐性をつけさせるためにあえて古い思想や概念を実践するわけ。
Understand? They employ those old-fashioned tactics in basic to build you up to build up your resilience to extreme
ピ
circumstance.
ラミッド型の組織やトップダウン型の命令系統に一度慣れさせるのも同様の理由からだ。
It also gives you a taste of what it's like to work within pyramid organizations and top-down chains of
だが
command.
正規軍の命令系統や組織概念はそれとは全く別物となる。
However, in combat units, we use a completely different command structure and organizational scheme.
作戦に関わる全員が同じレベルの戦域情報をリアルタイムで共有している。理由は簡単だ。
Everyone is involved in the operation has access to the same information which gets updated and exchanged in real time. The reason is simple.
繰り返しになるが人間の思考が通用しないベータとの戦闘には臨機応変な対処と即時即決が求められるからだ。
At the risk of repeating myself, human logic doesn't apply to beta, and engaging them requires you to think on your feet and make swift
だ
judgment.
からこそ前線の部隊指揮官に多くの情報と権限が与えられ高度な判断が要求される。
Which is why commanders of units on the front lines are given lots of intel and the authority to make important
それ
decisions.
はたとえ歩兵部隊の一兵卒であったとしても同様なんだ。
These same principles apply even to your most basic infantrymen.
あの時私は空挺の可能性を考えもしなかった。
At the time, I never even considered the possibility of an aerial attack. Yeah, Major Walken and First Lieutenant Tsukiyomi said the same thing. In this world, the beta control the skies, so aerial attacks are pretty much unthinkable.
人間に意表をつかれるようではベータと戦って勝利することなく夢のまた夢だ。
Go, Cinder, go! Go! You're free! If we could still be caught off guard by other humans, then we don't stand a chance against the beta. Right, if we're on the same page about what it takes to fight the beta, but I still think your operation was a success.
それで
You think so? Why? The enemy's aerial assault may have been successful, we were able to rescue Her Highness. See, I think it really depends on what your criteria are for calling something success or failure, and for me, it's the outcome. Whether you're fighting humans or beta, it's extremely rare for everything to go according to plan, which is why elements of timing and luck play a huge role. If you could take advantage of the unpredictables and still manage to produce the desired results, I'd call that a success.
ほう貴様なかなか見どころがあるな。
Well, you're a sharp one, aren't you? No, that's something that Shinguji taught me. Sorry. It's just what she told us when we passed CCSE. It's paraphrasing.
そんなことは分かっている。
I'm aware, huh?
私も総選研修に合格した時、それと同じような言葉を軍曹にいただいた。
She said something similar when I passed as well. Interesting. Guess the sergeant gave all of her cadets the same
受け売りで
spiel.
あろうが何であろうが、軍曹の教えが貴様に息づいているということに変わりはない。
Paraphrased or no, it doesn't change the fact that the sergeant's teachings live on within you.
何を謝る必要があ
So
ると
what's
いうん
there
だ。
to apologize for? You're right, Captain. That wasn't necessary.
そうだ。それは貴様も軍曹に育てられた子供だという証。
There you go. It's just proof that you're one of Jinguji's children just like us.
A01 の一員である証なんだ。これに思え。
It proves that you're a part of AO1 and take pride in that. I do. I consider it an honor to have her as my
そ
mentor.
れでいい。
As you should. That's right. Jinguji believed it was her duty to pass these lessons down to us. And Unit AO1, composed entirely of young soldiers under her wing.
白がね、一つ教えておく。
As a personal note,
使命に準じた者たちの生き様やその教えを生き残った者が誇らしく語り継ぐこと。
the best thing we as survivors can do for those who sacrifice themselves in the line of duty is to be their living legacy and pass on their
それ
teachings.
が我々英士にとって
It's the most sincere possible way for us to honor their memory. Honor their memory, huh? I see. I guess the captain thinks I'm still having trouble coping with what happened to Jinguji.
戦場で儚く散っていく命が人々の記憶から消え去るとき、その命は
It is only when we allow them to fade from our memories that our fallen comrades actually die. Well, that's something I know all too well, trust me. After all I've been through, I can finally appreciate what a blessing it is to have people remember you.
ベータを殲滅し真の平和を取り戻すまでは軍務に準じた者たちへの悔い
Yeah, no, seriously. Until we can annihilate the beta and restore peace to the world, the best we can do is honor the dedicated soldiers to carry on our legacy. I mean, as long as there's someone to keep the memory alive, humanity lives on and will one day be victorious.
だから貴様も一足先に行った者たちの思い出をここで思って
Exactly.
語ればいい。
So you should take pride in passing on the words of those who've gone. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You could probably tell I haven't been able to find closure yet, huh? But I'm gonna be okay now. Sure, I haven't recovered, but I at least know what I have to do. I'm gonna make it up to Jinguji, no, Marimo, by singing this out to the end. But on top of that, I'll continue to pass on the lessons she taught me, in both
さ
worlds.
て話を元に戻そ
To
う。
get back on topic,
今までの話からも我が部隊が関わる作戦や任務が多岐にわたっていることが理解できたと思う。
as you've gathered by now, this unit participates in a wide variety of missions and
だ
operations.
がこれまで説明した例は計画の黎明期から中期までに発生する副次的な任務に過ぎない。
But like the examples I've given so far, these are nothing than secondary tasks meant to keep us occupied during the R&D stages of our Alternative 4.
第4計画が最終段階に到達した際に課せられるものこそが A01 部隊が追うべき真の任務なんだ。
Our true mission will not be assigned until the project advances to the final phase.
我
The
々
true
の
mission,
至上任務、それはあるものを支援し
our ultimate objective is to support and defend a certain something. Certain something.
A01 部隊は
I'm
そ
assuming
のあるものを守るために編成された部隊と言っても過言ではない。
you could say even that Unit A01 was created solely to assist in the protection of this thing. Yep, is she talking about the 00 unit? I mean, that's easily the most important thing related to Alternative 4. Though if the captain's not going to mention it by name, I'll keep my mouth shut. Maybe I should probe a bit to see how much she knows. What is this certain something?
残念だが今それを答える権限を
I don't know have the authority to answer that. Well, duh, even if she does know, only Yuko's authorized to divulge such
need to
information.
know という言葉。
Do you know what being on a need-to-know basis is? Yeah, it's when you only have the right to be briefed on something that's absolutely
そう
essential.
だ。特殊任務部隊に所属しているとはいえ、我々は英士であり、現場の一軍人であることに変わりはない。
That's right. We may be a special unit, but we're just surface pilots. Military rules apply to us like they do to
い
anyone
かに
else.
最前線で戦域情報が共有されようが、機密情報が公にされるわけではないのは分かっている。
And while we may share intel on the front lines, you understand that we can't risk sensitive information being leaked, right?
この
Right.
場合、我々が知るべき情報は、あるものを守る。
For our mission's purpose, the only relevant information is that something needs protecting. We have no need nor right to know anything more. Got it.
例えば、この時間もそうだ。
Same principle to our discussion right now, huh?
表向きは貴様の遅れを取り戻すための座学ということになっているが、本当は体よく人払いをしただけのことだ。
On the surface, this is the time I've set aside to help you catch up on your lessons, but the truth is, I needed an excuse to get rid of the others. What?
理由は簡単だ。今まで私が話した内容の端々に
The reason being that some of what I've told you so far touches on classified information which only I have the right to know. But Executive Officer Kazuki has informed me that in light of the new mission, I could discuss just about anything. Does she mean about the tuning job? So why are you, a newly commissioned second lieutenant, allowed to know things that even Hayase and Munakata don't? Because you have a need for them. Right. If you need to know, you'll be briefed. If you haven't been briefed, you don't need to know. Simple as? Yeah, that makes sense. Then let's continue. So even though this is Yuko's personal unit, that doesn't mean everyone gets to know the details. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if I even knew things the captain doesn't. I'll have to check with Yuko to see how much I'm allowed to say. That's the first lecture I've attended to a while, let alone paid such close attention to. Not because I missed them or anything, just because it's actually related to my primary objective. Meanwhile, back in the other world, I actually did feel kind of emotional to be back in class after so long, but I couldn't focus because I don't remember any of that material anymore, huh. There is something really curious about that captain, though. She may have all the traits demanded of soldiers in this world, but she seems like a very good person. Kinda feels like Sergeant Jinguji might have been the same way when she was around the same age. Thinking back on the story the captain told me from when she was a cadet and when Jinguji told her of her first battle, I could see it. It makes me realize just how much easier she was on us, how kind she was. Oh, Lieutenant Hayase. Hey, come on, you don't have to be all formal. Didn't the captain tell you? Oh, sorry, force of habit. Whenever I see Superior, I just salute. You remember the Valkyries now, no need to salute. Or when there might be prying eyes watching, right? You catch on pretty quick, Hotshot. I guess you are a genius. Not to be rude, Lieutenant, but would you mind not calling me that? If you're being sarcastic, it wouldn't bug me, but while I may have gotten my act together now, it doesn't feel right to be praised by another of Jinguji's pupils. Wow, wouldn't have pinned you as modest, especially after designing the OS. I'm not being modest. Well, better than being full of yourself. All I'm gonna say is that OS is a lifesaver. I'm glad to hear that. I just want to give you credit where it's due, that's all. Well, if you say so. I mean, I was overwhelmed by how sensitive the controls were, but now that I'm used to them, it's a different ballgame. The Rebel Shiranuis during the coup were so slow, it was like we were using different models. Well, I'm glad you found it useful, but I don't think I'm a genius or anything. Hey, lighten up. Sorry. So while you were out on the mission, I heard a few things about the captain. What? They told me you're still pretty broken up over what happened to the sergeant. Oh, they're right, but I've decided I'm not going to let that hold me back. That being said, though, I'm still not in my frame of mind to graciously accept compliments. Hey, listen, Lieutenant. If I'm ever going to start coming to terms with what happened, there's something I need to say. It's not just a matter of carrying on our legacy, there's something else I have to do. Something I owe every pilot. Hey, come on out with it. I wanted to apologize for failing to protect her. I know she meant a lot to you and to everyone else in this unit. It's my fault she's gone, so I'm sorry. Don't do that. What? You made it out alive. That's what's most important. What? Is it really that simple? Even though I sat there and watched Jinguji die? It may be irrational to hold against me, but isn't that the national response? She didn't want to, like, punch me or something? Take out her frustration? It didn't bother you at all that I was directly involved with your mentor's death. There you go again. If you're gonna twist my arm about it, then yeah, it's tough to accept. Then how could you be so upbeat? You act like it didn't happen. Oh, for crying out loud. We finally get a guy and this is what he acts like? I'm almost afraid to ask. Don't tell me you're gonna go apologize to each and every one of us, are you? I was planning to. I thought it'd bring closure. Stop. You don't want to do that. I feel like I have to try her. And what you gonna do if they don't accept your apology? I'm not asking for her forgiveness, it's a principle thing. I take it back. You're no genius, you're an idiot. Stupid, huh? Well, better than being drowned in praise I don't deserve. I really don't want to... I really don't want to pick a fight with one of my teammates, but the thing is, my objective has changed. Defeating the beta isn't the end goal anymore. And while I'd hate for it to come to that, it's really not imperative for me to get along with these guys. In fact, considering what we're up against, it might actually be smarter not to get too attached to one another. That being said, though, I want to at least do the right thing and apologize when it's due. Whether they forgive me or not, I'm not going to run away anymore. Listen, what you're thinking about doing isn't going to help find closure. I'm not so sure about that. I think we just have different opinions. Different opinions? You might not think it'll help, but I'd appreciate it if you didn't force your views on me. This is something I do for myself. However, I also wouldn't want to be insubordinate. So if you don't want me to apologize, you could always just order me not to. Say the word, I lay off. How's that for a different opinion? Your point being, what the hell? She's just gonna silence me by force? Guess she is a military girl, huh? Despite that laid-back persona. She's right. You guys may not agree with her, but she's right. Justify it as wanting closure all you want. You're just trying to make yourself feel better. What the hell did you say? Don't even think about dumping your emotional baggage on us. Hayase did nothing wrong. The sergeant was like a mother to us. Of course we're upset about it. It's not just you. We all feel like we could have prevented her death if only one little slight thing was done differently. Even the captain hates herself for it. She convinced it's her fault for not paying better attention. But get this, even though we're all in pain, we're still trying to come to terms with it on our own, without letting it hold us back. You know why? Because it's our duty as survivors to use what we've learned. It's the only way we could ever make it up to those who died. So if you understand it that much, then quit trying to force your problems onto everyone else. Sorry about that. I almost made the same mistake over again. I wasn't thinking about anyone but myself. Thank you. I didn't realize what I was doing. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't sympathize with you. You did get sent to the front lines right after a traumatic experience. You never had time to recover. No. All I did was run away and make things worse. Yeah, definitely. He's having some pretty good character development, honestly. Some of the best I've actually seen in VN. I shouldn't even say pretty good, just downright spectacular. Your old squad mates in particular were worried about you, so I suggest you act like nothing's wrong. Cope and seethe. That's part of the surface pilot code. It's not about how good you are, you have to be able to cope, too. And if it's closure you're after, moving forward is the only way to find it. Roger. So Alois, I am ahead of you then? So if you just can't suppress the urge to talk about Shinkuji, what are you gonna do? I won't talk about how she died, I'll talk about how she lived, and say how proud I am to have been her student. How far ahead? I've won the race. I'm ahead of the race. Attaboy, smile when you think of her. Got it? Okay, so that's what a real surface pilot looks like then, hey? In the previous loop, I only ever got assigned to rearguard missions. I was never the real deal. But this is what it takes to survive in a real combat unit where death's on the doorstep. So watch yourself. And why is that? Because I got my eye on you now. If I catch you sniveling like that again, I'm pummeling you, got it? Roger that. And if I do, pummel me all the way. Oh, smart aleck, aren't you? That's the second time I've been hit by a girl recently. It's like whenever I'm doing the right thing, I always turn out to be a product of my own selfishness. I'm still so naive. I've really got to learn to start looking at the bigger picture. In that sense, I'm lucky to have someone who will be this blunt with me. Mitsuki. Mitsuki? Oh hey Haruka, you done processing the mock battle data? Oh that's right, Hayase's first name. Oh yeah, just finished, and now Akane's bugging me to invite you to the PX. Ah, I just loaded it again, it feels so weird. I want to go over the formation. Okay, come on. Good afternoon, Lieutenant. You must be sore after sitting. It wasn't too bad. A solo mission than a one-on-one lecture? You can't just catch a break, can you? Well, I doubt she was chewing him out the entire time. She only does that to you. That's mean. I remember these guys in the mock enemy units back during the trial act like this too. I guess it's pretty natural for commissioned soldiers to be this casual. You know, I always thought respect for seniority was such a big deal, but maybe the pros know exactly when to turn it on and off. I guess I can understand wanting to keep the atmosphere light when you're in a combat unit and might be sent out to your death at any moment. And like Hayase said, this is probably just a part of the service pilot code. This is the cope. But I feel it goes deeper than that with these three. They seem genuinely close on a personal level. The first two lieutenants graduated at the same time, the sisters would obviously be intimate. I don't get why Hayase would be so close with Suzumiya's little sister. Her squad passed the CCSE faster than ours did, but we've had a fantastic all-around pilots after overall. In fact, we blew right past a lot of the later curriculum, so it's not like Suzumi has been with these guys that much longer. What? Cat got your tongue? Oh, she did chew you out then, eh? No, I'm just surprised at how intimate you are with your older sister's friends. Whoa, Shirogane, what's that supposed to mean? Yes, I'm assuming that there's going to be some pretty tragic deaths for all of these people. You could say that again. Feels like we're joined at the hip. Not you too. Back when we were in basic, I used to write about Mitsuki in my letters back home. Akane really looked up to her. Really? When we got our first leave... Yeah, I'm on that boat too. When we got our first leave, I brought Mitsuki home with me and... Whoa, whoa, you don't need to say all that. Come on now. I remember that. She was a little shrimp in combat boots. No, no, stop. She got so obsessed with Mitsuki just from letters and photos, and when she finally met her, she cried. I said stop. Dang, Suzumiya's older sister might be more brutal than I thought. She just ignored sister's pleas with her pleas with a grin. Right. And after that, hid behind Haruka's back, too embarrassed to speak. I couldn't help it. Suzumiya embarrassed? Having a hard time imagining that. That's why Akane wants to be Storm Vanguard 1 someday, just like Mitsuki. That explains why she wants to talk about the formations. But Storm Vanguard? Isn't that the most prestigious flight unit? Or most prestigious position in a flight unit? Not to mention the lowest survival rate. Only the cream of the crop gets Storm Vanguard. If Lieutenant Hayase is Storm Vanguard 1, she'd be like the second in command. No, there's nothing more than that. I know. There's also that girl in her. Those aren't the only reasons. Akane feels like she has to fight twice as hard now that you can't. That's not true. Cut the act, we all see right through you. Oh boy, this is getting now really awkward. Hey, should I go? It's fine. We're in the same unit, so you're gonna find out sooner or later. Okay. This is the exact opposite of the non-intervention policy, though it made sense, given everyone's personal baggage. One more thing that goes to show the difference between a training squad and a unit, I guess, and a difference in our commanding officer's policies. Captain Asumi wants us to carry each other's legacies, and I guess if we don't tell each other anything, we wouldn't be able to do that.
私も英士を目指して訓練学校に入隊したんだけど、戦術機適正で不合格になっちゃった。
The truth is I wanted to be a surface pilot, but I failed the TSF aptitude test. You cleared the CCSE but couldn't pass an aptitude test?
総戦技演習の時に事故に遭って、みんなに迷惑かけちゃったの。
I was in an accident during our first evaluation. It ended up holding everyone back. That's why she graduated late. But why would an accident during the CCSE cause you to fail an aptitude test?
私たちの時はね、訓練分隊ごとに複数の破壊目標をクリアしながら脱出地点を目指すという作戦で。
Well, our CCSE was basically a faux operation in which we split up into 2 teams to destroy multiple objectives and to find an evac. Sounds pretty much the same as ours, except 2 teams instead of 3. Don't tell me she got shot by the gun battery.
私とはるかは同じ分隊だったんだけど、別動隊の連中が破壊目標で高機動車を見つけてね。
So Haruka and I were on the same team. So what happened was the other team found a Humvee. Oh, right, the one that we found with the engine ripped out. It was in that cave we were trying to figure out how it got there.
スケジュールが遅れていたその隊は時間短縮のために高機動車で合流地点まで。
They were falling behind, so they decided to use the Humvee to get to the rendezvous point. But the road was gone. Don't tell me they drove through the jungle.
ろくに整備もできない状態で悪路を走り続けてきたから。
The problem was the thing was in bad shape, and so was the road they were using.
合流地点に着いた時にはブレーキフルードはすっかり抜けていたらしくて、高機動車は止まらなかった。
And by the time they got to the rendezvous point, the brake fluid had leaked, so they couldn't get it to stop.
はるかを含め、
Oh my god.
何人かを引いて、最後に高機動車は横転してやっと止まった。
It ran over a few of us in our sleep, Haruka included, only coming to a stop after it careened out of control. What happened to
頭を
them?
引かれたやつと、横転した時に車外に放り出されて、車体に押しつぶされたやつ。
You'd think that you might want to check the brakes. We lost 2 of our cadets. One had her head crushed underneath the tires, the other thrown from the vehicle, crushed down. So, was it a myth? People really did die in the evaluation. Maybe that accident is why they stripped out the engine and let the path get overgrown.
私はその時、両足を引かれたの。その傷口から細菌に感染して。
Both my legs were crushed beneath the wheels. The wounds then got infected, which made things worse. Yeah, no kidding. They were off-roading through the jungles. Those tires were caked with mud, dirt. She's lucky she got off with just an infection. She didn't have to get anything amputated. So now my legs are prosthetic. Huh? Well, her legs are prosthetic? I had no idea. Maybe I need to get my eyes checked. I couldn't even tell if the 00 unit was human. Thanks to these, I was able to get back to training in 3 weeks and pass the evaluation the second time around. I just wasn't fit to pilot the TSF. It's impressive that she managed to retake and pass the CCSE after an accident like that. She's a lot stronger than she looks. They weren't perfectly able to recreate my nerve connections. It doesn't give me any trouble in my day-to-day life, but that's just how life is. Haruka's always shown great skills as a commander, so we elected her as a team leader. Same reason they got her working in the command center. So it hasn't been for that accident, she'd probably be a 1 second in command, eh? Gosh, no. I would have made a terrible pilot, I'm sure. I doubt I'd even be alive right now. But Akane's not only a pretty solid leader, she's also got some serious piloting skills. My guess is she's pushing herself to achieve the things her sister never got a chance to. Akane, it means a lot, but really don't overexert yourself. I'm not, trust me. And part of it's just that I want to push myself up to Lieutenant Hayase's level. Seems like Suzumiya cares an awful lot about the older sister. She was always one of the popular kids in the extra timeline. She never seemed shallow or stuck up. She had a loner vibe, but seemed really valuable to her friends. I'm guessing she probably cared just as much as her sister there as she does now. Lieutenant, was it really that obvious? Yeah, I mean, every time I look over at you during a mission, you've got this look of worry in your head. Even the captain's starting to worry. She is? You're not one to really bite off when you you're not one to ask for help. You always bite off more than you chew. Hence why I thought an intervention with Haruka might be in order. You make it sound like I'm a helpless toddler. What? Akane, you didn't know? What? You don't know that they... You do realize they just put us here to babysit you, right? Stop making fun of me. See? You're throwing a tantrum like a kid. You know, for something so painfully obvious, it's easy to forget that everyone here has their own set of problems. You can't assume you've got it better or worse than anyone until you've had a day in their shoes. So of course I can't claim that First Lieutenant Suzumiya went through, for example, wasn't as bad as what happened to me. In the same vein, there's no telling which of us is taking Sergeant Kikuchi's death the hardest. The only thing I do know for sure is that every one of these guys is hurting. And they're still laughing alongside their friends and trying their best not to let it show. No one's trying to dump their problems on anyone else. They're all doing their best to stay positive. What about you, Lieutenant? Oh, can you repeat the question? I wasn't paying attention. You haven't eaten yet, have you? You can come eat with us if you'd like. I appreciate the offer, but... Yeah, which also means that there's going to be some sort of crazy pace. Come on now, no need to be shy. We're on the same unit. Yeah, I guess we are, huh? Yep, I legit am waiting for an alarm to hit right now. It's your turn to tell us some embarrassing stories. What, seriously? I'm just messing with you. I'm legit, like, I can hear it reverberating in my ears, that freaking alarm. I'm just waiting for it. I want to ask you some quirks I noticed about the OS, and maybe exchange a few piloting tips. Chizu told me you get some moves. Save it for tomorrow. He hasn't even gotten a chance to talk with his old squad mates. No, my bad. It's fine. Sorry to have turned down the invitation. It's okay, we'll do it again sometime. No, get out of here. They've been worried sick about you this past week. Okay, if you excuse me. No need to salute. Right. These guys still eating? I wasn't expecting to be talking with Lieutenant Hayase and her gang for that long. Maybe they've already finished and gone back to their rooms. Tama doing the T-pose. They're still here. I know the point was to act like nothing ever happened, but it would be pretty rough if I had to do that and go visit each of them individually in their rooms. In a one-on-one situation, it'd be hard to keep my mind off what happened, and a single slip-up could cause a conversation to come around. I'm glad they're all here at once. Thank God. After how long that lecture was, I was worried you guys have gone to your rooms. Was that a little too over the top? Rest easy, we were waiting for you. Finally someone that breaks the awkward silence. I owe ya. Gotcha. Well, sorry to keep you all waiting. Why would you turn it on? I wasn't waiting on anyone. I'm just here taking a load off. Says the one fidgeting. Alright, like you weren't constantly looking back to the door. I was doing some hardcore neck exercises. Oh yeah, then how come you're the only one twisting one way? Alright, tone it down, you two. It's been a while since we were all together like this. Let's get along. Guys, I'm sorry for being so weak. You were all in pain and yet I left you behind. But don't worry, I'm not going to run away anymore no matter what happens. And while I may not be able to tell you any of this in words, I'm confident I can make it up to you in actions. Just wait and see. Right! I wanted to say something earlier. Which is? I'm back, y'all. Not sure how, but I'm home in one piece. I feel really bad about ditching you guys without saying anything, so I'm sorry. After all you've endured, you owe us an apology. You owe us no apology. We were all so worried. You probably weren't given the option of telling us anyway, so I'm just glad you're safe. Exactly, all that matters is that you made it out okay. Good to have you back. Thank you guys. Welcome back, Takaru. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Maya. You guys, this means so much. After what I did, I don't deserve a warm welcome, but I'm grateful. Well, now that the gang's all here, we can finally eat, yeah? You guys haven't eaten yet? Was that not implied? We were waiting, remember? Right. Okay, I'm gonna get us a table. I'll come with. Hey, wonder if the captain gave these guys the same pep talk, or maybe they went to the whole same surface pilot code thing. Whatever it is, I could tell they're all trying to cope in their own way. No matter how bad it hurts, none of them are running away from their problems like I did. You guys are the real deal. If I hadn't lived through 2 or 3 years of this already, I never would have made it this far. Hope I can catch up with you before too long. Things have finally gone back to normal. Sure does. Huh? During that interim you were gone, we were struggling quite a bit with what happened. You sure are something, Shirogane. I could never go on a mission in that emotional state. You're wrong though, all I did was run away. If I didn't have something to keep in my mind occupied, I probably would have gone insane. You guys endured a lot more pain than I ever did. Not true. Huh? You can't run from pain like that, it will always find you. Ayamane, you know, you really have no idea how right you are. Besides, we had the captain and the rest of the unit were there to rely on. Indeed. Seeing firsthand how true surface pilots deal with loss was most helpful. Especially considering they must be far more broken up about Sergeant Jinguji's death than we are. Just like I thought then, the guys from AO1 helped him out too. Guess we can finally go now. Right you are. Go where? We've been waiting to do something but decided to wait till you got back. We were planning to pay our respects to Sergeant Jinguji by returning to where she spent her final moments. I see. They sent the ashes back to her family. Might be a good chance for me to formally apologize and let her know I've returned. Let's go do it then. Alright then, let's hurry up and eat. Yeah, for sure. You guys must be starving after waiting that long. I'm literally dying. No, that hasn't happened yet. Come on, join us. Thanks for breaking that awkward silence, by the way. I decided I'd rather not watch the others make a punching bag out of you. Well, I guess I owe you one for... Welcome home, Takaru. I'm glad to see you made it back in one piece. Big man on campus over here going out on a big mission, didn't even get a scratch on you. Thanks, Miss Kyozuka. Bet you all glad to have him back, huh? Yep, we can finally rest easy again. I never got to give you all a proper celebration for promotion, so let me make it up for you today. Y'all are getting special treatment today. Come on, follow me. Miss Kyozuka, surely you're mourning too, and yet you're throwing me a welcome home party? You must be trying pretty hard to lighten the mood, but... Seems I spoke a bit too soon. Hey, 1 punch is better than 20, right? I suppose so. Hey, Shirogane, I'm coming in. What gives? You're late. I had to go pay my respects really quick. Respects? Me and the guys from 207 just paid Sergeant Jinguji a visit. Her ashes were sent to her parents ages ago. Right, we went to the place where she passed. We went down the training ground and marked the spot with an upright steel bar. That'll serve as her memorial. So that's what you meant. I know you might consider that a pointless gesture, though. Yuko's the kind of person who hates formalities, so I assume that she thinks this is kind of stupid. Probably even more so, considering she only saw Jinguji as an acquaintance/useful subordinate. But it's important to me, and I'm not going to let her talk me down to that. Kind of think of you stopped calling her Marimo, didn't you? I'm not trying to be childish like that anymore. I get that you don't actually consider us as equals, but I'm going to do my best to do things properly now. And that was one thing I needed to take care of. No need to get defensive. I wasn't reprimanding you, nor do I think it was a pointless gesture. It's a sign of growth that you were able to push yourself to return to the place that she died. You being able to overcome your weaknesses like that is a good thing for me. It's a welcome change. Well, okay then. Sounds like you did a lot of growing up in that week you spent over there. It's a good sign, as far as I'm concerned. I guess. Please, as if you don't already know what happened. I mean, doesn't the fact that you've already had to, haven't even asked about it prove all of this, that it's going the exact way you predicted it would? God knows just how far in advance she's planning everything out. I'm starting to feel like it's a waste of time even thinking about it, especially after what Captain Asumi told me earlier. I had a long talk with Asumi today. I'd appreciate it if you could tell me how much she knows. It's going to be difficult to work with her otherwise.
向こうの言ってることに合わせていれば
If I went over everything, we'd be here all night. Pay attention to what she says and you'll be fine. Sensei,
仮にあんたがイスミの知らないことを漏らして
even if you do leak something, I'm not worried. She's trustworthy.
ただどんなことがあっても相手が誰であっても絶対に教えない白金関連の情報
But there is information about yourself that you can never tell anyone. Just remember that. And that information
あ
is...
んたが世界を移動したり時間をループしていること、そしてそれによってもたらされた事象。
The fact you're caught in an interdimensional time loop, which has dramatic repercussions.
これだけは私が墓場まで持っていく。
That's the one thing I plan on taking with me to the grave.
ヤシロは当然知っているけど。
Well, obviously Yashiro knows, but she's special. Any problems with that? No. Kasumi has to know. I just haven't had the chance to talk with her since I came back. Wonder if she's ever forgiven
それ
me.
じゃあそろそろ仕事をしてもらいましょうか。そのためにあんたはここに。
Now then, let's get you started on your new job. That's why you're here after all. I'm aware, so what do you want me to do? 00 unit, the thing that looks like Sumika, it's supposed to be humanity's ultimate weapon against the beta. Debugging or tuning or whatever, how am I supposed to do that?
00ユニットについての説明から。
First, let me explain a few things about the 00 unit. Please do.
じゃあおさらいね。オルタネイティブ計画の歩みは覚えている。
Let's review. Do you remember the alternative program's previous contingency? Yep, I remember all of them. She means alternatives 1 through 3. We went over this after Kasumi ran away. Yeah, I remember. I wouldn't forget that.
省けて助かるわ。じゃあ先に進めるわよ。
That'll save a lot of time. I'll just pick up where we left off then.
人類はベータとのコミュニケーション方法を確立するためにオルタネイティブ計画をスタートさせた。
Mankind founded the alternative program for the express purpose of establishing communication with the
だ
beta.
けどそれは
Right.
失敗の連続だった。その中でも少ないながら成果もあった。
Although every project so far has ended in failure, we have gained a few small
オル
insights.
タネイティブ2で判明したことは何だった？
Do you remember what was proven during Alternative 2? Yeah, they're back to their carbon
じ
based.
ゃあオルタネイティブ3の唯一
That
の
they don't
成
think
果
of
は
us as
何だった？
human. And what was the thing we learned from Alternative 3? Yep. That's the one tiny piece of information we learned after sending so many Kasumi sisters through their
その
deaths.
通り。彼らが人類を生命体とみなしていない以上、人工 ESP 発現体のコミュニケーションはそれが限界。
Correct, and because the beta don't consider us as life forms, the genetically modified espers we sent weren't able to establish further communication. How does that make sense, though? Not sure why I didn't realize this before, but after listening to her summarize it, something doesn't seem to
ど
add
うし
up.
たの？先に進めるわよ。
What's wrong? Just to clarify, the beta are carbon-based, right?
そうよ。
Right. Aren't humans also carbon-based?
人類も間違いなく炭素系生命体
Last time I checked, yeah. Okay, but in that case, why wouldn't the beta see other carbon-based life forms as living creatures? What the hell? They're intelligent. They've clearly got technology for interstellar travel. Why can't they
当
tell?
時世界中の科学者が今のあんたと全く同じことを言って
Trust me, when we
データを
first found
戻
out
った
the scientific community was in uproar. What?
そしてそれを踏まえて計画されたのが
Alternative 4
オルタネイティブ4なのよ。
was designed to answer that question. How do you mean?
その要である00ユニットはどうしてそういう名前になったと？
Why do you think I named the project central component the 00 unit? I don't know.
生体反応ゼロ、生物的根拠ゼロ。だから00ユニットと呼ばれてい
She's
る。
got 0 vital signs and is 0 organic material. That's where 00 comes from. 0 vital, 0 organic
まだわから
material?
ない？
You don't get it? She's a robot.
00ユニットは非炭素系疑似生命なのよ。
She's a non-carbon based pseudo life form. Non-carbon based, and that
つまり
means
00ユニットはベータに生命体と認識されコミュニケーションを取り得る唯一の存在
in other words, 00 unit is our best shot at communication. It's very likely they'll recognize it as a life
ベータ
form.
とのコミュニケーションを実現するには彼らが生物と認識できる器に人の魂を入れる必要があった。
And in order to successfully communicate with the beta, we need the ability to put human consciousness into a vessel they
そ
recognized.
の考えの根拠になっているのは回線として
Yeah,
ベータ
that's what
は
I'm thinking
人間よりもむしろ
It's just like the
機械
Soviet
に
Onion
している
strat.
からよ。
the reason we assume this will work is because we've seen the beta recognize and react to machinery. So why couldn't we just keep using
イメ
machines?
ージを言語に変換するには人間の思考が必要なのよ。機械にはそれができない。その逆もね。
Human thought is necessary to translate the images pulled from ESP readings into words. No machine can do that or the reverse. Human thought? What do you mean by that? I can kind of wrap my head around the idea of a non-carbon based pseudo life form, but how do you recreate human thought? And for that matter, how the hell do you put a human consciousness in there? Is that parallel computer with 15 billion semiconductors really capable of that? Oh, okay, I get what the 00 unit is and why it's made.
そう。じゃあ
Let's
次
move on
に進
then.
むわよ。
But I have a question.
何よ。
You said there was a need to give it human consciousness so it could recreate human
言
thought.
ったわね。
Yeah. Since you're clearly able to create that artificially, what's the point of making the 00 unit look human? As long as the beta sees its life, it doesn't matter what it looks like, right? Why give it soft skin? Why give it an accurate body temperature? There's a perfectly good reason behind that. Then I'd like to know what it is. I can't say that yet, but I can tell you the main reason. That's good enough for me. Let's say you get into an accident and suffer third-degree burns. If when you regain consciousness you no longer looked like the person you were before, would you be glad you survived? What the hell? So it is. Sumika got roboted. Especially given how soon it would be after the psychological damage of being in a traumatic accident. How many people do you think would be able to look in the mirror and not recognize the person they see and still find the strength to go on living? What does that have to do with anything? Sumika got roboted. As a human being, one's appearance is the most fundamental form of identity. Answer my question. That's the same reason we made such great strides in biomeds and prosthetics. Rather than risk our soldiers going mad after they've been wounded, we need to be able to send them back with their minds and bodies intact. Okay, great. What does that have to do with the 00 unit? Look, this is hard to accept, but you'll have to do it sooner or later. What? Uh-oh. Haven't you figured it out? Figured what? Think about the person you met yesterday. I'm sure you'll see how she relates to what I just told you. You can't be saying... What I am saying is that the 00 unit is Sumika Kogami. We directly turned her into it. That's why it resembles her. No, it would mean that basically they transferred her consciousness into a robot, but they just gave the robot everything that she had. For some reason. There's no way it could be her. Why? How could she be the 00 unit? Yep, you turned this world Sumika into a pseudo life form. I hope that made sense, Natalia. I was so relieved to find out that she didn't exist in this godforsaken world, and now you're telling me she's the secret weapon? This is ridiculous. Hold on. Sensei, you told me Sumika Kogami didn't exist in this world. I never said that. Yes, you did. Don't play dumb. I'm not. You were the one who told me she wasn't here. I don't recall saying a single word. What? Yeah, I remember you claiming. I told you in the previous timeline that was during our first conversation. She tricked me again. I was so gullible. I should have known better than to fall for such a typical lie. And yet, I'm the one who never once doubted her claim that Sumika didn't exist. I'm an idiot. Even after seeing her go in and overwrite my death certificate. Come on, yeah, even I thought that was mad sus. Even yesterday, I intentionally ignored the possibility that I'd been lied to, all because I desperately wanted to believe what was true. What? Gonna run away again? And here I thought you actually came back to do something. Want me to power up the transfer device? I'm not gonna run away, don't jump to conclusions. This has nothing to do with that, just give me a little time to think this in. I'm not gonna try and pin the blame on you, that won't accomplish anything. I'm just a little frustrated by how naive I've been. Where are you now? I mean, I'm also pretty mad at you to be honest, but I recognize that's just a product of my own immaturity. I'm not going to keep using childish sense of right and wrong as an excuse to justify weakness. I'm done arguing with you. I'm tired of blaming everyone else for my shortcomings. I'm not going to do it anymore. All that ever does is make things worse, something I have to learn the hard way. I want to get to the point where I could actually face you as an equal. And when I get there, I'm going to take full advantage of your abilities and use them to help me achieve my own goals. So you don't have to worry about me running away again, I can promise you that much. Good enough for me, I like that rationale. That said, I can't just change who I am overnight. All I can do now is focus on improving myself and try to fake it till I make it. Makes sense. You probably know this from our discussions, but Sumika does mean everything to me. I don't care if it's a parallel universe version of her, the feelings apply. Maybe you already knew that and planned this entire thing around the assumption that I'd fight my heart out for her sake, But if that's the case, you made a miscalculation. I'm not mature enough to perform at my best with all these unanswered questions burning a hole in my gut, and I'm not proud of that, but it's the facts. And sure, you could just tell me to deal with it and force me to go, but that could potentially backfire on you, right? Though, knowing you, you've probably already taken that into account as well. That's kind of my point, though. You don't leave things to chance. So why would you entrust something as important as a 00 unit to someone like me? You must be pretty desperate. I mean, you're certainly not the type of person who just give me this gig out of pity. So I have a request. That being, I want you to tell me in much detail what the relation is between this world's version of Sumika and the 00 unit. At the very least, an explanation as to why she was chosen. If you can just clarify for me, I'll follow any questions. No questions asked.
I mean,
I was going to tell you regardless, so that impassioned speech wasn't necessary. Well, it was a display of conviction. I'm not, and how much you've matured, so I can't say I'm complaining. I could tell you if you like. Do you really want to hear the truth? I won't be able to unless I move, or I won't be able to keep moving forward unless. You know, some things are better left unknown, and that time is now. Alright then, if you think you're ready, I believe you. Thank you. Now, where to begin? Just to clarify, you're saying the 00 unit doesn't just look like her, it is her. That's correct. This world's version of her. Or what's left. What's left? Okay, then like I said before, the first thing I want to know is why was Sumika chosen? You were comparing it to reconstructive surgery, so I'm curious as to what kind of condition she was in. She was still alive, right? Given what she did to my records, she probably would just do the same thing to erase hers. That depends on your definition of living. From a medical standpoint, yeah, she was fine. Then where has she been up until now? If she tell me that much, then even if it comes to worse, I'll have to go through yet another loop, I'll be able to find her. Not that I'm going to have to go ahead and half do it this time just because I know I could always try. But if I can get rid of whatever made me casualty conductor, I'll never break out of the loop, even if I do defeat the beta. Not to mention I'm in a special unit now, one that gets sent on the most dangerous submissions. Assuming that Yuko was correct and a new loop begins every time I die, there's a good chance that might happen before the beta are completely wiped out. Even if Sumika has to become the 00 unit again, I'd like to at least meet her before it happens. And if we could find a way to beat the beta without her becoming, I'd like to know where to find her once the war is over. Yeah, no, Yuko's gonna outplay him no matter what. Not sure why you have to ask. What? You've seen her here. Yep, she was the brain. You've seen her here before. What? Yep. Follow me. Yep, son, you take the bottom string with your thumb. Then with that same thumb, pull the middle string. Sumika. Oh. I'm sorry, let's start over. We did have an inkling. About? That is where she's been. You know about Yashiro's powers. So now, you understand why Yashiro was here 24/7. It's because Yashiro was the only one she could talk to. How long are you going to keep denying reality? Don't tell me you're going to get cold feet now. Didn't you want to know the truth? Are you saying what I think you're saying? It is empty. 'Tis empty. That thing was Sumika? That brain was her all along? This can't be happening. I was always thinking about how creepy it was. How did she end up like that? What did she do to deserve that? Was this some sort of part of your research? You turned her into some sort of guinea pig? Maya told us a ghost story that went something like that in the previous timeline. What if that wasn't a rumor and Sumiko was one of her test subjects?
1999年8月5日に始まった明星作戦。
On August 5th, 1999, we launched Operation Lucifer. What?
いわゆる大東亜連合軍による本州島奪還作戦は2発の G 弾。
This was a Koshin-sanctioned operation in which we retook the Japanese mainland through the use of 2 strategic G-bombs. Okay, Operation Lucifer. This game's opening.
その結果、人類は初めて敵の背部を占領した。この横浜基地がその上に建設されたことは、
This would mark the first time humanity was ever able to actually win and capture an enemy hive. I told you about how Yokohama base was then built on top of the hive. Right.
背部内に残存するベータを殲滅するために最深部を目指して突入した部隊が発見したのよ。
When we sent in infiltration units to eradicate any straggling beta, they discovered something interesting down in the deepest part of the hive. Humans were taken prisoner by the beta. The beta took prisoners?
正確に言えば人間だったものよ。
Yes, but by the time we found them, I wouldn't really call them human.
彼らが見たものは青白く光る無数の
What we found were countless pillars glowing with a pale blue light.
その中にはおそらく捕虜になっていたと思われる人間たちの脳と脊髄が収められていた。
And in the center of each pillar was a human brain still attached to its spine, which we assumed the beta extracted.
何百とあった脳髄で生きていたのはたった一つ。
Out of the hundreds down there, one was alive, and that
それは
was Kagami Sumika.
ベータの捕虜になって唯一生還した人類。
The only ever human to have been taken prisoner by the beta, lived inside of a hive, and survived. The only
も
one?
ちろん名前が判明したのは作戦から数週間後。ヤシロがリーディング
Of course, we didn't actually learn her name until weeks after the operation. Yashiro read it.
人間を脳と脊髄だけの状態で生かしたままにしておく。
We don't have the technology to keep a person alive when all that's left of them is a brain and a spine.
この基地にあるベータが作った施設が稼働状態のまま維持されている理由。
The reason the beta's facilities were below the base. It's our only way of keeping her still alive. Okay, then why? Why would the beta keep human brains captive?
私たちもその時初めて知ったのよ。ベータがそんな
We were all just as surprised as you are. No one knew they were capable of such a thing. What were they even doing with them?
ヤシロの集めたイメージから推測できるのは人間の何かを研究して
Based on what Yashiro could gather, they were researching humans. They don't see us as living.
人間だって生命体ではない岩石や金属
Don't we also research things that aren't alive like rocks and minerals?
とにかくベータが人間に興味を持ち始めていたのだけは事実。
In any case, we could at least be certain that for whatever reason, the beta take interest in humans.
ベータと直接コンタクト
And to us, having access to someone who'd been in direct contact with them and survived,
鏡スミカの存在は
namely Kagami Sumika, was a godsend. A
そう
godsend?
でしょ。オルタネイティブ4はベータに生命体と認識される疑似人類00ユニットを創生することが
No, sure, after all, the whole point of Alternative 4 was to create an artificial human being that the beta would recognize as living.
それに最も適した素体候補が手に入ったんだから喜んで当然
It's only natural we'll be thrilled to get our hands on an ideal candidate. Ideal candidate?
00ユニットになるためもっとストレートに言えば材料になるための候補
Yep, we'd been looking for someone who could become the 00 unit, someone who could provide the raw material needed. Raw material?
A01 部隊はねもともと00ユニットの素体候補者を養成するために編成されたのよ。
In fact, A01 was originally created to serve as a unit that could cultivate potential 00 unit candidates. What?
この基地の英士訓練学校はその前の段階である候補者の選抜をする機関として設立されたのよ。
And this base's training academy was established as a mechanism for selecting only the most promising candidates to advance.
教えておくが我が部隊は全員同じいやむしろ A01 部隊のために第207英士訓練学校は設立されたのだ。
So that's what it was. Why would you send such valuable candidates on the most life-threatening missions
そ
then?
の程度の任務で死ぬような因果を持った人間に人類の未来は任せられないのよ。
If they got poor casualty that they die from little missions, we don't want them to entrust. We don't want humanity's future to be entrusted with them. When you say casualty, you mean like they don't have luck and timing?
運とか言われているものを因果律量子論的に言えば各個人に先天的に備わっているより良い確率分岐する未来を引き
We say luck, but in terms of quantum casualty, it's really an inborn capacity of the individual, one that allows them to attract more favorable
そ
outcomes.
れは平行世界から漏れ出す情報を大脳の未使用領域で受け取り無意識のうちに的確な行動を選択して正解である世界を選び取る能力なのよ。
It's the ability to receive information leaking out of the other parallel worlds via the brain's latent faculties and subconsciously make decisions that will lead to the most desirable timeline. I think the other Yuko mentioned that with how her fortune tellers and physics do their thing. That means Tatsumi, this 00 unit might be able to go ahead and get some insight to the extra timeline. That's the most desirable attribute. I see. During the physical exam portion of the conscription process, we measure that attribute along with all usual tests. So everyone from my old squad all have potential. But 207B was filled with people with political backgrounds. So UNHQ ordered various blockades to delay the commissioning. In what way? Well, for example, your team was subjected to harsher conditions during the CCSE. So then they were political hostages. You could say that, or you could just say we didn't want to step on the Empire's toes. But we ended up getting commissioned ahead of schedule. Perhaps they lost their value as hostages, or perhaps we no longer had a reason to be considered the Empire. Either way, the fact that we were making great strides with our existing 00 unit candidate probably has something to do with it. I'm not sure I understand though. Why did the 00 unit need to be made from a human being who meets these criteria? You can't work it out from what I've said? We pilot our TSSB by indirect thought control, so normal computers are already capable of reading and digitizing human thoughts. The 00 unit isn't a mere interpreter. We want to establish communication with the beta so we can gather information. It's a specialized tool of espionage, so she's a spy. You said that in the previous timeline I told you I couldn't successfully create a parallel computing device with 15 billion semiconductors, right? Right. That was the same bottleneck I was facing in this world. A parallel computing device with 15 billion semiconductors? Even for me, it's a roundabout way of putting it. If I really said that, then it means I was still taking care not to leak information even after the project was scrapped and fell into total despair. That parallel device? That's 00 unit's central computing module, a brain. A quantum conductive brain. Made out of high temperature superconducting material, Grey 9, found only in beta hives. What the hell is Grey 9? It refers to the 9th previously unidentified element discovered by Dr. William Gray at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. It has a critical temperature of 309 degrees Kelvin, making it superconductive even at room temperature. And how do they get their hands on it if it's only found in beta hives? Well, the American government gave full investigative authority over the beta landing unit that fell over Canada to the Los Alamos National Laboratory. America, huh? No need for that tone, we've got a good supply of it. From the hive below the base, I guess? Exactly. The reason why America was even into Operation Lucifer was to extend the monopoly on the extraterrestrial element, though it didn't pan out for them. Yeah, no kidding. Back on topic, her brain operates under the same principles as a quantum computer and sports the parallel processing power of a device with over 15 billion semiconductors. At the risk of grossly oversimplifying it, let's just say that it connects with all the other quantum conductive brains across the timelines in which the 00 unit exists and borrows the processing power. Insane. It is, but without a personality and human-like characteristics, it's just a machine, so it wouldn't be the 00 unit. When you first showed up here, I was struggling with how to transfer a digitized personality into a conductive brain, so everything else was already complete, yeah. So the whole time there had been an artificial body made look exactly like Sumika in this base. On some floor I didn't have security clearance. But without a candidate's experience, memory, skills, and personality, the quantum conductive brain was little more than a paperweight. The 00 unit has to be human or there's no point. And that's why you enrolled the most promising candidates in the Surface Pilot Training Academy? Right, if you're going to have the fate of the planet in your hands, I'd say you at least have a strong sense of duty, a resilient mind, and the full military skill set first, wouldn't you agree? Makes sense. Thanks to the equations you brought back, the transfer has been taken care of. Only problem now is that Kagami Sumika never received any military training. Sure, we fed her a bunch of theories and data, but whether she could actually make use of them is another matter. And that's why you guys in Unit A01 are going to do the fighting for her. You've got nothing better to do. So I was right then. When the captain said we were supposed to protect a certain something, it was the 00 unit. As the team compromised entirely of other prospective candidates, it only makes the most sense to pair you guys up with the 00 unit. So the others aren't potential candidates anymore? No, there's others still on deck to serve as replacements for Sumika if need be. But if we can get up to a reliable level of functionality, none of the others will have to be sacrificed. What do you mean by that? Well, if someone were to become the 00 unit, they're no longer alive in the conventional sense. Not all of A01's losses were from KIA, you know. You mean some of them were incapacitated due to human experimentation? Incapacitated? Hate to break it to you, but when we try to digitize a person's brain, we don't pick and choose. Every function of the brain gets transferred over. The signals to tell their heart to pump, their lungs to breathe. Imagine what happens to any living creature when its brain stops sending signals entirely and you understand the outcome. They die in the process. But that's why the 00 unit has to be given fake organs and physiological functions virtually identical to a human. It can't be limited to just the appearance. In the absence of a familiar body and organ, the brain begins to disassociate. This ultimately leads to psychological shock, which kills off any remaining fragment of humanity. We have no way of keeping someone alive in this state other than the aforementioned beta technology. Then that means you and I are just... We killed this world Sumika then, effectively. Yeah, of course. I mean, you were just an unwitting aide. I had the direct involvement. Why does this keep happening? Just when I've overcome one hurdle, reality slaps me with some other cruel truth. Is this part of what it means to be a casualty conductor? Do I have to just grin and bear it? Even if she was nothing more than a brain and a spine, she was alive. And yet, by bringing these equations back here for the sake of the world and all of humanity, I had inadvertently had a hand in Sumika's death. That's not something I could accept even if she was just a brain. Without arguing ethics or waxing philosophical, we could say that in some sense she was alive. And now the brain which was Kagami Sumika's had ceased to function. Now it's just another lump of cells. What? I'm the one who killed her. The beta just skinned her alive. What's the matter? You want revenge? Do I want revenge? I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, she was just a brain in a tube. Can you really call that living? perhaps she'd prefer to have stayed like that, but there's no way for me to know. Sure, maybe you were the one who pulled the plug and killed what was left of her, but to be fair, if I hadn't been brought back those equations, nothing would have happened. If Yumiko hadn't become the 00 unit, someone else from Unit A01 would have been forced to as well. And when I realized that from an ethical standpoint, it's not my place to judge. I think anyone would agree to this is way more perfectly humane than sacrificing another healthy surface pilot. I mean, would keeping someone alive in that state really be an act of mercy?
そこに自分の意志があるかどうかが問題なのだ。それが反映できるかどうかが問題なの。タケルも考えてみてほしい。自分の大切なものが。
Sumiko was stripped down to nothing but her brain and her spine, but now she could see things again. She could feel things with her own hands. She could speak to others and listen to how they respond. Even if she is just a machine designed to do nothing better but fight, that's still better than what she was. The 00 unit has a purpose now, and she's getting something to live for. You 00 know she's still Sumiko to me, and I'm going to protect her with everything I have. As long as I'm around, no one's going to touch her. That's the only way I could ever atone for what I've done. And to fulfill my obligation, I'll never be able to make it up to her. Granted, I also do have an obligation to fix all the timelines. Not that means that I won't save the world, but just taken recently, I've been seeing that more of a stepping stone than an end goal. But after this conversation today, I'm starting to reconsider. I know it sounds dumb, but defeating the beta is now just as important to me as the fate of the timelines. Why? Because you want to avenge her? I'd be lying if I said that wasn't part of it. But more than anything, I want to ensure that no one else has to go through what Jinkuji went through.
でもそのうちに生き残った私がやるべきことをその意味を考えて戦うようになっていったの。
皮肉よね。戦争のせいで教師になれなかった私が。
でもそれがあの時私が生き残った。
一人でも多くの兵士を1秒でも長生きさせるために、だから今は207小隊のみんなが。
After all the times I've messed up, but still made it out alive, it's the least I can do to help. It's just the way I want to make it up to Sergeant Jinkuji or Her Highness or all my friends in the other world. I'm just a normal guy, so the closer I am to someone, the harder it hits me when something bad happens to them. But more than that, it's just me being a pushover. I get so easily distracted by other people's problems, even when I know my own objective is more important. What happened with Her Highness, the old one in Mount Tengen, it's like I just keep making the same mistake over and over and over. Every time I think I finally got my act together, something new happens and throws everything out the window. That said, I do feel my resolve's a lot firmer now than it ever was before, so I'd like to thank you. And it's also not going to be a problem anymore. And if I'm going to be honest, it's hard to me to accept you that Sumika is a 00 unit. I could barely even cope, so much for newfound resolve. But from what you've told me today, it sounds like this was always going to be on behind the scenes, even in the previous timeline. I just never knew about it. To be fair, the way Cosme acted like her did make me wonder from time to time, but I wanted so badly for her not to be in this messed up world I shrugged it off. Which means, even if you include the previous loop, I've gone several years now without ever once realizing Sumiko was here all along. Here I am saying she means the world to me, that she could never be replaced, and yet I was oblivious to her. She was right there under my nose, and I couldn't recognize her. When I think about it like that, I can't help but wonder if my feelings for her were really as deep as I thought they were. You could even make the argument that my feelings for her were highly dependent on her physical appearance, and I'd have no rebuttal. At the end of the day, I'd probably just be afraid of getting my hands dirty or coming off as a bad person. I think it was always just a creepy brain to me, but now that I know it was Sumika I'm broken about what you did, it's hypocritical. And I finally realized there's no point in pretending otherwise. Until I start doing something differently, I can't expect things to change to the better. I have no one to blame but myself. I'm sure you already know this, but the other you told me that if I could eliminate the cause of this, then the effects would follow suit. At the very least, I could fix the timelines, right? Surely, if you can get rid of whatever made you the casualty conductor. So she did know all along. So she knew I'd be bringing the casualty for Jinkuji's death to that world when I left too. She knew that I would also cause Sumika being torn limb from limb. Which means she also knew what would happen to their other selves, and how everyone's memories of me would be strewn. And of course, she knew that I wouldn't be able to take it and come back here. She predicted and planned all of this. But even so, I'm the one who chose to run away. She didn't force me to. Trying to pin the consequences on her would be pathetic. I can't keep blaming her for my mistakes. I need to take responsibility for what I've done wrong. I know that everyone stems from my world, so even if I do get rid of whatever made me a casualty conductor, that won't change how events played out here. But if there is a world I could help save, especially by one that I've ruined it by running away, I can do everything. I want to do everything I can. I want to stop wallowing in my own misery every time something goes wrong. Just a minute ago, you were on the verge of tears. I never promised to be emotionless, but I can promise I won't hesitate to run away. Once I've finished the job, I've done what I came here to do, I'll let myself cry when it's done. So don't worry, I'm going to destroy the beta. Count on it. Believe it. What the? What is this? Handgun. It's a 9mm. You won't be able to smuggle weapons down to this floor. What? That is the ultimate Chekhov's gun. Like, literally Chekhov's gun. I'll leave it right here. If you ever need it, use it. What? That is the ultimate Chekhov's gun. If you ever change your mind and want revenge, shoot me. You could probably do it one-handed. You got that, or do I have to repeat myself? No. Anyway, sounds like you had a rough time over there. You knew exactly what was going to happen, didn't you? I might have. You gave me a warning before I left, said I might reface myself, and you were right. When I realized what that meant, I contemplated suicide. I was impressed you came back here instead of taking the easy way out. Though as soon as I saw your face, I had to fight the urge to send you back. I'm not going to, though. The other me told me she'd throttle me if I did. You talked to her? How did you do that? Remember how you brought the lab coat? There was a letter. Oh, that explains it. That makes a lot more sense. She probably wrote out everything that happened over there. I'm guessing most of it was stuff this Yuko had already predicted, but it would have at least given her confirmation. Well, you've certainly matured quite a bit. Certainly a huge improvement. Well, I can't take credit for that. That was all you. In fact, I didn't know any better until you were tooting your own horn. You've even learned to make snarky quips. I guess I do owe you a re-evaluation. I'm much obliged. I guess that means I'm going to teach you like an adult now, doesn't it? What does that entail? For starters, a little bit more classified information. I don't know about that. Ignorance is bliss. Don't even joke about being a pansy. I've taken enough as a risk to tell you the information I told you. Risk? What risk? I guess I see where she's coming from. I ran away once, so she really was making a gamble by divulging that to me. That was certainly more than I needed to know for the purpose of tuning my job. I don't have time to waste on irresponsible brats who want to know every little detail about adult problems they can't solve. Makes sense. Before you ran away, that's what you were. That's why I didn't bother telling you much. You should recognize this means that I think you're worthy of knowing stuff now. Also, don't forget that you came back to this world of your own free will. She's right. If I had heard this all back one day, I would have thrown in the towel. This means that she couldn't have gone right as me as much as she did, so she made the right call as much as I hate to admit it. I'm still mad about a lot of things, but right now I've got no choice but to do Yuko's bidding. If I ever want to save humanity and eliminate what made me a casualty conductor, I'm going to need her. I don't have a lot of options since she's the best bet I have at making it happen. Time to get down to business. Are you going to tell me how to tune the unit? We'll get there, but first something else. Is she scheming? What I want to tell you right off the bat is what will happen if you succeed. It'll be easier for you to work if you know what the end goal is, right? You're only going to tell me the bare minimum now, though. Exactly right. I'll tell you the details when the time is right, once you've demonstrated that what you're actually worth telling. Understood. Once she's fully functional and undergoes a practical assessment, we'll use her on the front lines. Front lines? You're not just going to use the beta you've got in captivity? Of course we are, but we're more interested in the beta's social structure, or overall objective, weaknesses, and any such strategic information that the individual specimens won't know. But how the hell are you going to get that kind of intel? She didn't say I couldn't ask questions, so might as well. Worse, that could happen if she'll refuse to answer. The 00 unit has mind reading and projection abilities as powerful as Yashiro. What? Alternative 4 inherited all the research from 3. Why wouldn't we use valuable assets? You got a point.
本質的に同じ問題を抱えている。
But the 00 unit has the same problems as any genetically modified Esper. Her powers only work within a limited
だ
radius.
から戦略的価値がある情報を得るには最前線。
It's the Soviet Onion strategy again. So in order to get strategically useful information, we're going to need to send her to the front lines within a hive.
最終的にハイブ突入部隊と同じ任務を負うことになる。
Ultimately, she'll be joining the units infiltrating the hive itself. She's going to have to go right in the middle of enemy
さっ
territory.
きも説明したけど A01 部隊が00ユニットの直縁につくことになる。
And as explained, Unit AO1's job is to keep her
その
safe.
中でも事情を深く知っているあんたには作戦中の臨機応変な対応を期待しているわ。
So as one with the most intel, I'll be counting on you to make the good on-the-fly decisions. Okay.
00ユニットの操縦訓練はもう始まっているけど、運用
Alright,
試験まで
we're gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys so much. Quite an info dump on this stream. We've pretty much figured out everything now, and now we just gotta see it come into fruition. Thank you guys again for everything. I hope you guys have a fantastic night, and I will see you guys back here again tomorrow. Yeah, not even that was a pain dump. Have a nice night, everyone. See you back here tomorrow.